We are going to start with some progressive victory stuff. And normally I have a pre-roll that'll start for the stream. So we're going to use a pre-roll today. It's about 20 minutes long. It's going to tell you a little bit about progressive victory. And then once that's done, we're going to just hop right into it. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you real soon.
I do want to talk about the progressive victory stuff, and just so you all know, they cut me a check. Progressive Victory cuts me a check. Not for my content, right? But for going to a meeting.
Where's the money? How are they paying an estimated $20,000 a month for the streamers on payroll, which is annualized at $240,000 a year, when this is all they do? This is their cash. Let's talk about progressive victory. Who is progressive victory? I mean, who really is progressive victory? I think people are asking a lot of the wrong questions. And the best thing I can do is just help narrow this down to the concerns I have that are pretty outside of the scope of the normal concerns. So, progressive victory, let's just read about them for a quick second. Our progressive victory is a new kind of political community built by the internet for the internet. Our community is turning the tides in elections across the country. Progressive Victory seeks to challenge the traditional method of political organizing by engaging people through online media with focus on building solidarity with streamers and social influencers. Great. Break that down, what that means on your own time, okay? The PV community is based online, hosted in a dedicated Discord server. PV works closely with online content creators on Twitch and YouTube to get their engaged, dedicated audience into the PV community. Solidarity with there, we're bringing new people into the political process by giving them the tactics, resources, and support to make their voice. So what they're trying to do is implement a strategy in which they identify streamers that align with a political agenda and are willing to basically proselytize to their audience to recruit for this organization. Progressive Victory is constantly growing, with new members joining the community every day. The community is built upon values of equity and inclusion with zero tolerance policy for hate. All members asked to sign on the PV rules before gaining access to the community are upheld to the highest standard. Our mission: Progressive Victory is committed to building our community of new-to-activism volunteers, the audience of the streamers, by empowering members to develop the skills and gain the knowledge needed to become lifelong activists. They want to recruit, train, and coach you. But I'm not against this. I think this is stuff that happens all around the world. I don't have a problem with an organization being above board and openly trying to recruit people that believe in their agenda and have them be raving fans and advocates as a recruiting tool. But that's not what's happening. So if that what was happening and a political organization wanted to help promote those streamers that were actively partnered with them publicly, fine, no problem. But that's not what's happening. Progressive Victory's unifying mission is to ensure progressive candidates are elected to positions of power and progressive policies implemented. Over the long term, Progressive Victory aims to create a progressive power bloc within the Democratic Party that is too big to ignore. Progressive Victory values unity above all and seeks to connect progressives across the ideological spectrum with the common goal of creating a more just world. Regardless of our differences, we unite over the need to take pro-democracy actions in these unprecedented times. So what they're saying is they are an organization that is trying to recruit, train, and coach you to help them gain power and influence so that they can influence the Democratic Party. They have an organization, they have a goal, they have a project. So what they want to do is they want to sell it to their audience that they already have capture and a slavish devotion, and they want to use that as a way to bring people in. So there is an interview that I will refer to later and show you that will. Sam himself, the guy that runs all this, he explains to you this is what he's doing. So you don't have to take my word for it. Never take my word for it. Always do your research. But I am providing you the resources that you can do to save yourself the time. So here's Sam. He's the director. We'll get to him in just a minute. But there's something we're going to notice over and over. And it deals with the way the name Progressive Victory is used. And so what is the general claim being made by the people being paid by Progressive Victory?
Things like that. But I do want to talk about the Progressive Victory stuff, and just so you all know, they cut me a check. Progressive Victory cuts me a check. Not for my content, right? But for going to a meeting. I did receive some clarity on the meeting and what I can and can't share. So I can tell you that no, they've never asked to see my data, and I've never shared my data with them. Like, so my analytics and stuff, I know that was a question. I wasn't sure if I could even say if they've asked me or not, right? I wasn't sure, but I got clarity. So I'm telling you right now, they don't have access to my data. I've never given them access to my data. They never asked for access to my data. There you go. Boom. Easy. Yeah, they cut me a check. Well, they give me a direct deposit. I'm old, but I'm not that old, right? Yeah, I'm paid by Progressive Victory.
So I'm paid by Progressive Victory. Their mission is to have streamers recruit and build their organization. But the claim by the streamers is I'm paid for my political opinion. I'm a consultant to help the organization. But the question is, who is Progressive Victory and who are they helping? So let's take a quick run through these. There's two different Progressive Victories. This is one thing that's not being asked. Which Progressive Victory are they paid by and which one do they work for? There is the Progressive Victory Action, which is the PAC, and there's Progressive Victory LLC. Both of them are at the same address and both of them are run by the same person. So who are they paid by? Are they paid by the LLC? And if they're paid by the LLC, how does the LLC get their money to pay the streamers? Do they get their money from the PAC? If they get their money from the PAC, then these are donations. And as you're going to see in a minute, it doesn't kind of add up for what's going on. So either way, something doesn't add up. But in addition to these two businesses, Sam also has had a business before that called Clever Edge LLC. But I'll talk about Sam more in just a minute. In addition to that, you have Rebellion PAC that sponsored Wick's stream. This stream is sponsored by Rebellion PAC. So you had Brianna Wu working for Rebellion PAC because she's part of the ownership, the treasurer as of last record, but that's her and Jenk's political action committee. But there's also Rebellion Policy Institute registered at the same address in Maryland that Rebellion PAC is registered. So just like with Sam, they have the political PAC and they have an LLC, two different organizations. So when Wick was he paid by Rebellion PAC or was he paid by Rebellion Policy Institute? What are these things and how are they funded? There may be absolutely nothing wrong. This may be standard operating procedure. I don't know anything about this industry. But what I know is every time you hear them refer to Progressive Victory, they refer to it as Progressive Victory without the specification of the PAC or the LLC. And that's part of what I don't understand and I think isn't being addressed. Again, there may be nothing nefarious, but it isn't being addressed. Okay? So they claim I'm paying streamers, and the streamers say they're being paid to go to meetings. And that is That's all they're being paid for. Their value is their political opinion, and they get paid to show up basically like a focus group and give their opinions. Connor is there because he represents conservatives around the country, and he is the counterbalance to their focus group session to help them better understand how to communicate to the conservative mind. These are all the things that the streamers have said is why they're being paid. But the goal of Progressive Victory is to use streamers to grow their organization by growing the channels and growing their influence. And as we saw, the sponsored streams by Rebellion Pack that Wick did, it's my understanding they were used for marketing material as Rebellion Pack saw fit. So there is a marketing component here for Progressive Victory with their stated goal of building a collective that they can use as political influence to have a say in what the corporate Democrat Party does in America. So that is the overall goal of the organization. But which organization? Whose website is this? What bothers me about this is when we go through and we take a closer look at some markings on websites. See, I used to be in the sign business, and we used to have to, you don't only have to, get their branding accurate and their disclosures accurate, but you have to, any registered trademarks have to be on there identifying. We would have to go in and get color matching for their branding for national companies to make sure the banners we were producing were the right Pantone for them. So when I look at these websites and there's missing identification marks, so you see how the logo is there, but there's no registered mark. When you start looking for knockoffs and things that aren't looking official, when there's no proper marks with the branding, that starts to trigger me a little bit. But when you look even closer and you go down, right, it says paid for by Progressive Victory. Progressive Victory what? Progressive Victory LLC or Progressive Victory PAC? How do you not disclose that? I don't understand. You have a PAC and you have an LLC, but on your own website, it's not clear. So we're already working with a lack of disclosure as their main website. But then let's take a closer look at what the website name is. ProgressiveVictory what? Has anybody else seen a .win address? I haven't. Now, if you want to donate to Progressive Victory without any, trademarks to say they own these logos, right? You can give money. Now, over here it says support Progressive Victory. Progressive Victory is mobilizing its members, so it doesn't specify which Progressive Victory here. Progressive Victory is mobilizing its members to win elections in 2023 and beyond. Use the form on the right to support PV's efforts to empower its members and make an impact on our democracy. Now, choose an amount. Your contribution will benefit Progressive Victory PAC. Okay, so does that mean the money is going to Progressive Victory PAC? No. It means the purpose of raising the money will be to benefit Progressive Victory PAC. But surely if you're donating, and if you're donating to the PAC, then it's the PAC. So by proceeding with this transaction, you agree to Act Blue's terms and conditions. Who's Act Blue? Why is Act Blue the one collecting the money and not Progressive Victory? Paid for by Act Blue, actblue.com, and not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Contribution or gifts to Act Blue are not deductible as charitable contributions to federal income tax purposes. Now, the federal income tax purposes is nothing special. These donations aren't deductible anyway. Sam explains this in the podcast. He explains a conditional with Susan Collins, and I don't want to explain it. You can listen to it, but he explains how instead of donating to help this person, You donate to help this party, and then they use the apparatus to like support an opponent of somebody or to support a candidate. But the example he gives is to support opposition. It's not about they like the candidate. It's about how to be the opposition to gain power. And the streamers believe they are part of a progressive movement, but the agenda of the organization is power in the Democratic Party. So what kind of will help you better understand why the streamers themselves would want to know what's going on to protect themselves and their future, listen to this podcast. He explains it's the great battlefield. It's like 5 days old now. And it goes through interviewing him, and he explains his background, how much he likes about being a D.C. Washington insider, what he loves about the power of the Senate, and how he has seen the right from Gamergate to today, which is what this man wants to build. This man, to sum up his goal, he believes he is Luffy from One Piece, and Bannon is like one of the bad people from One Piece. And so unlike Gamergate and Bannon, one of the bad guys who built this infrastructure of weaponizing groups of people by using online influence to control other people and manipulate opinions, he wants to be the good guy version of that and duplicate the infrastructure that Bannon and Flynn and the right have built. He wants to use you to do that for the Democrats. So I'm not judging it, but that's what he wants to do. It's his stated agenda. If we take a look at what really worries me, if everything I said was absolutely nothing, and there's nothing to worry about, that's wonderful. But I do think people should know the answers to these questions and should have done their research. But now that we're here and they're already entrenched and they're telling you all they're getting paid for is meetings, when that is preposterous. Like, they don't have a political resume. They're not getting paid to go to a survey group once a week and help the PAC decide where to go. The leader of the PAC has already said he's going to control where to go. It's not like a democratic process. You guys are just part of a collective, and these meetings and paying you for the meetings are part of the inflated value that they're giving you. They're throwing money at you for the purpose of getting you to buy in and for them to like jumpstart this process instead of faking it organically. When they haven't asked where the $500,000 from the unnamed donor came from for Sam to do this business, and they don't know who's funding it, how can they know what the actual objectives of the company are? And I think that would be something they really want to care about. So the harm that I'm seeing is this false sense of security and values. We've already witnessed progressive victory creators project the idea they are now part of a political industry and are talking about their impact and how they want to talk to other PACs, claiming they can stop making money on stream and can be fine because of progressive victory. In reality, you guys won the lotto, but winning a scratch off is not a skill. Recognize you are a tool for their goals and not the other way around. Sam said you are replaceable, and frankly, you are. Look at this as the gift that it is and not as some long-term change in the trajectory of your career. Because if you don't really know who's paying you, and if everything is going through the LLC, then you don't know what's going on, and you have a lot of questions to ask. But if this is going through the PAC, the total receipts they brought in were just over $80,000, and their expenditures on that $80,000 were $44,000. So where's the money? Where's the money? How are they paying an estimated $20,000 a month for the streamers on payroll, which is annualized at $240,000 a year, when this is all they do? This is their cash. So if they're paying you from the PAC, I would be worried about how long till the money dries up, or if it's not, where is the vast increase in funding coming from? Now, you can get this year's raw data, but I'm not going to run through and waste your time with that. So I just put all this together. Hopefully it helps summarize it all up without all the narratives and everything on the side. Take from it what you will, and appreciate you. Okay, so let's hop into that. Appreciate you guys being here. What's up, Mike? What's up, Mulder? What up, Tacos? What up, Eshel? This stream is both on YouTube and on Twitch. So the fact that it's on YouTube means it should be around for a while. I want to... The reason I wanted to do this was I was the other day messing with Stardust and Brianna Wu. After Brianna Wu went on Stardust and made the case to try to go after President Sunday, I did a stream. While I was doing the stream in my Discord, Will was debating Progressive Victory. And I said, why don't you just come into stream? I meant chat, but they said, well, why don't you guys talk? And I agreed. So Will and I had a chat. It was supposed to be like 30 minutes. I don't know how long it was, probably about an hour and plus. And what we basically came to agree with was should have been disclosed all along. That it's not that big a deal, except the weird thing is nobody's trying to figure out what's going on. And after that conversation, there was a stream that Kuiman did, and he was watching it, and Connor, who knows nothing about me, decided to just start chirping. And TLDR, Connor, Sunday, and Kuiman got on a call and started talking about Progressive Victory. It was fairly embarrassing for Connor. And then I find out Rezzivaer is watching it, and he starts watching mine. And as usual, all he does is complain and whine and gripe and shit on me. Never a positive thing to say. Just, I'm an idiot. I'm always wrong. I'm a conspiracy theorist. He talks about this one conversation him and I had like 2 years ago where he was telling me the January 6th stuff is a waste of time. It's not a useful way to spend my time on a channel. Maybe not knowing I wasn't here to grow a channel, but I was here to like catalog this information and get it out there, which is why about 2 years ago the streaming started with a 8-week docuseries going week by week on the road to January 6th. And I made it pretty concise. I made a 25-minute video of the intros so you could get an idea what happened over the time span. And the conversation we had was frustrating. He felt that even if it was a coup, that that's no big deal. Like it's not even election interference somehow. But also that protesting was basically voting. None of this made sense. It was a frustrating phone call. And ever since then, there's been this like disdain towards me. Now, there's more to it behind the scenes of stuff that happened around the war room since Rezzivaer knew Claw and that group. And that's the group that kind of infiltrated Cly and blah, 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 all this stuff. But we had some back and forth behind the scenes. There was a bit contentious, or behind the scenes in DMs. And since then, including this PV stuff, what up, Missy? Including this PV stuff, it's been this constant barrage of, even on the same stream where he objected to the things Wick said about me, he also did say, I'm obsessed, I get crazy, I loop, I'm impossible to understand. So even rejecting what Wick said, he kind of kept backing up what Wick said on the same stream. And on the same stream, Beckett said I was obsessed. And earlier, Kid Knockin had mocked me and called me a conspiracy theory for all of the stuff that I laid out on Progressive Victory. And when I laid out that Kid Nutkin knew in December when he was mocking me about exposing Progressive Victory, he had already known what was going on. He wrote a 5-point, 13-sentence thing that was in some private Discord or some private message about the dangers of Progressive Victory. And that was Christmas, but just 10 days or so before that, he was mocking me, telling his audience that it was nonsense. And then when I did a stream showing that he knew, he convinced his Discord that I'm crazy and to ignore me. And when reaching out to Rezzivaer, he kept just defending Kid and pushing back the PV stuff, saying he's going to look into it, And to his credit, he's sworn to not talk to the people from PV, so there's at least he's seeing the issues. The weird thing is, there's like a dedication by him to freak out when my name comes up. Like, it's really hilarious, and you're going to see that in a little bit. Like, it's absolutely hilarious. So if you know Rezzivaer, give him a hug. Maybe donate some money to him. He seems like, as you're going to see, he needs it. I don't know. He's losing his mind. So I'm the crazy one. I'm the conspiracy theorist. I guess I guessed right and somehow nailed it. So we're gonna go through some of what I did on the PV stuff, when it happened, what I laid out, and then we're going to watch Rezzivaer lose his fucking mind over this, and it's absolutely hysterical. So there was a dedication by Wick and Brianna Wu to demonize the left immediately after 10/7. What up, Queen Bee? That it was like this direct attack on the left, which is still going on. And the problem I had was the things they were saying were anti-Semitic. You better than Mose? Welcome. I forgot what I was saying. I haven't smoked really any weed today. That's probably the problem. So, no, I don't. I follow Jesus, but religion's mental illness. So, funny. At least we know you're here for a reason. Okay, so I started noticing this anti-Semitism coming from Brianna Wu and Wick, and it seemed obvious because Wick was like a free speech guy. It seemed obvious that something was going on. And Brianna Wu's a character that I've come across in a number of different periods of internet time that I look at. And it just so happened that as I kept digging, I kept learning more and more and more. And I study group dynamics. I study social engineering and behavioral modification, which ironically, when I labeled Brianna Wu a political operative, because that's what she is, because she owns a freaking PAC, super PAC, Kidnakin tried to, political operative. And when I explained what she's doing, he mocked it and then watched a video backing up what I said. And what's gone on is, whether it's Beckett or Rezzivaer or Kidnakin, as I've said all along, these people are bigger rubes than the people getting paid by Progressive Victory. Like, if I'm Kidnakin and I go, wow, this is really bad for people's reputation, and then I cover up for it, I'm literally helping them while not getting paid. I'm risking my reputation while not getting paid. And then when Rezzivaer covers up for Kidnakin and discredits me to cover up for Kidnakin, well, yeah, you're aiding and abetting PV. Like, you specifically discrediting the stuff we're going to go through in a minute, just to save your buddy. That's you, Carrie. That's you. You're not getting paid. And you're still doing the work. You're still carrying water for them. Yeah, you're dumber than they are. Like, it's pretty fucking simple. So I put together, right? First, I made a video because people go, "You're too hard to understand. Your videos are too long. You loop." So I made a video. This video was November 13th, and it was kind of my little jab back to say, "Hey, as a Jewish man, stop speaking for Jewish people. Stop." And you're not even speaking for Jewish people. You're literally making up Jews as a monolith so that you can personalize it for your fucking political agenda.
The same progressive, democratic Jewish people, I would posit that they are probably going to be some of the strongest, most important allies that we all need for that policy objective. I think that mocking is an important tool, but let's not bring American Jews into that. It's hard to think of a progressive movement in the United States that has not had a lot of Jewish people there, but let's not bring American Jews into that. I also think that it's important for non-Jews like me. Like me, but let's not bring American Jews in.
And it was this point, in all the way like 35 seconds into the video, where Kid Not Kin started watching it, and he goes, "Oh, these are just clips? Oh, forget it. I need something that isn't just clips. I need you to like put the story together and tell the story." But you didn't watch the video. Because this is the Dunning-Kruger of it. The Dunning-Kruger of it is, I already know everything, so I don't have to watch the video, which is exactly how Rezzivaer says. Now, back, I think it was maybe February 1st, somewhere around February 1st. And I only have parts of the stream. I don't have the part of the stream that I'm referring to. But Weppy gave Rezzivaer my videos and information from me. And Rezzivaer said, "I don't need to watch those. F-bombs is wrong. Even if he's right about Wu, he's wrong." And this was months and months and months ago. Around February 1st. And this is after the other comms that we had, where he's going to look into it, but we end up in a place where the entire time that we've been doing this, including yesterday, was it yesterday's? Maybe it was 2 days ago, streamed by Rezzivaer, where, again, he insists I don't know what I'm talking about, and that I guess. And every time anybody calls him on it, even if he says F-bombs was right, he has to qualify it with some other dumbass bullshit where he has to yell and be right. Because it's impossible for him to just go, "You know what, F-bombs was right about the coup stuff. F-bombs was right about the war room stuff. F-bombs was right about the fucking PV and Brianna Wu stuff." But the funny thing is, every time they have a negative to say about me, there's never anything to back it up. Like they've literally for like 5 months now been actively discrediting anything that I say about PV, even when they turn around and repeat what I just said. Because the game is, don't let anybody listen to F-bombs. Now, what the reason for that is, I don't know. Fear, weakness, embarrassment. I mean, Rezzy like does blood magic and is a weird motherfucker. He'll constantly say for some reason, I like F-bombs, but then immediately be like, I fucking hate F-bombs. We're reviewing background information about Progressive Victory so that we can laugh at Rezzivaer as he spurred out about Progressive Victory and me. So yeah, we'll finish playing this.
I think a lot of Jewish people read that and it sets off their Holocaust alarm. I would guess that the memories of the Holocaust are really like playing into this for a lot of Jewish people. Hold on just 1 second. It's hard to hear the rest of what you're saying when you're lapsing into statements like that. I understand being angry. I understand perceiving this as propaganda, but let's not bring American Jews into it. I also think that it's important for non-Jews like me. But let's not bring American Jews into it. I think it's so counterproductive for any of the policy goals that it sounds like we all agree on. My message is very straightforward. I do not support Israel's foreign policy at all. I don't. I do absolutely strongly support my Jewish American friends that have nothing to do with Netanyahu. And I think that it's really important that those of us on the left, if we're serious about getting the policy outcomes we want, get to be really vocal about that. Because we are headed into another stupid, destructive cultural war that's going to result with the Republicans in charge in 2024, and then they're going to turn Palestine into a parking lot and let Netanyahu do whatever he wants. But why would a Jewish person get in a coalition with that? Just being really honest, but let's not bring American Jews into it. I also think that it's important for non-Jews like me. But let's not bring
Missy, I agree.
And I hear what you're saying about seeing that this could be propaganda. I think another way to look at it is, do you remember after 9/11?
And then this is a bunch of her woe is me, being the victim of this whole thing, crying about how unfair everybody is to her and blah, 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 blah. And the irony is how they were talking about Jews like me as if we must be anti-Semitic because we don't agree with them. And it's just amazing to watch these fucking political hacks just prove that they're shit. They're shit people. So what happened later was I got tired of everybody saying, it's too hard to understand, there's too much, blah, blah, blah. Now, the funny thing is, if there's a pedo allegation, these people will read 16 50-page documents to figure out what happened with a pedo or a rape accusation. But literally, when you give them the information, it's too much for them to handle. So I made a Where's Waldo, basically, with the information. And that was too hard, I guess, for people to follow. And by too hard, I mean the people that would have looked at it already have a preconceived notion about what I'm saying. So no need to actually watch the content when you can just say what the content is without watching it. So I made a roadmap that went back through all the stuff that I had done so that people, it would make them easy. It would make it easy.
That's just all he know, he don't know nothing else. I tried to show him. Why is it every move I make turns out to be a bad one? Where's my guard?
That's funny.
But you I need a favor, these cats across town hate me. What's their behavior? Has it been too good lately? What? That's just all he know, he don't know nothing else. I tried to show him. Hey, who's your biggest fan? You would do it, or give me your right hand, that's what you said. I see now, ain't nothing but trouble ahead.
Let's take a look at all this progressive victory stuff. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to show you the roadmap that I laid out and how you can get more details about the story and from my ramblings. The roadmap that I went through. Now, I just want to tell you that we're going to hear later that the stuff I do is too confusing, it's too hard to follow. I didn't lay it out. I don't know why. I don't quite know exactly what I didn't do. This was February 9th. Well, what happened was somewhere around November 7th, Wick did yet another panel about Israel-Palestine and the ripping down of the
what up,
posters was one
Lurking?
of the topics. And Brianna Wu was on the panel. And Wick's reactions to that in that panel didn't track with a conversation I had with him a year earlier. And long story short, there's some things about Brianna Wu that I had come across in other things that I do, looking at Cicada, looking at Gamergate, things like that. And so when I saw his emotion in Brianna Wu, I started a little thing called Wu Wednesdays. And the purpose of that was for me to take a look and see, is there a weird relationship with Brianna Wu and
Wasn't where
the change in Wick's behavior? And so that's
in
what
those chats. I can explain
started all
that if you
this.
want.
And when you look at this order, okay, there's
Okay, hold on.
Brianna Wu, American Jews, which was kind of a funny video.
I just needed a
hopefully
day. I had stuff to
entertaining
do.
help trigger the mind. Then I made a video detailing this change in behavior. After that, there was just a clear-cut video about Brianna Wu explaining she's a political operative and what her intentions are. After that, there's another video explaining that she's exposed and that this thing is confirmed. And since this didn't work, I just kept doing ongoing Wu content to see if I could figure out what was going on
Yeah.
without the community addressing it. But luckily, other people started to look, and now it's become an actual topic. So the way these videos were, this was back November 13th. And the idea was to start getting people to understand how ridiculous of a political operation this actually was. From there, let me just show you this part so you can understand the framing of all of this. Let's check in with our boy, Wick, King of the Jews. Some could say he's just trying to raise awareness for an important cause. Oops. Well, let's see how often he's been raising awareness. So this one, right?
Welcome.
This was on October 10th.
Didn't need to be louder.
Israeli-Palestine has exposed many as monsters. Who do we think he's talking about? He's probably just being neutral. He's like realizing on 10/7 anti-Semitism had been born. And he's like, whoa, anti-Semitism? Let me put my coat on. This is bad. And then since 10/7, we've had 1, 2, 3. Oh, lefty anti-Semitism. So monsters. And now left's anti-Semitism. When is that? Within 4 days, he had done 3 panels on not just the conflict and discussing it, but all of them were framed in the same direction. And this pattern, along with his behavior, wasn't tracking. So what I tried to explain and get you to see and then show you the example is that the goal of the advocacy? The goal, I mean, we're not worried about the Nazis that are out here. We're not worried about Charlie Kirk saying that the Jews control the blacks to come against the whites. We're not worried about Candace and Tucker doing white genocide rhetoric where the Jews control the black. No, we're not doing any of that. None about all the Nazis. He really needs to focus on Israel. So I'm trying to explain Israel and the left are his new topics. But Wick's always been a neutral panel host. He doesn't take an excessive amount of time to frame one group as the baddies. And so this was a change. But not only was it a change of the pattern of the content, but the change was
I'll be right back.
his attitude. And I'm pointing out that I had a conversation with him that allowed me personally to understand his outraged behavior at anti-Semitism and from the left was incongruent with his position a year earlier. But I can kind of show you why he doesn't care about the Nazis. I don't know, Queen Bee. I can show you, though, why I say Wick doesn't care to cover the Nazi speech. You don't need 12 panels every month and a half on the Nazis being anti-Semitic, but you do need them on how the left is anti-Semitic. And there's a reason why you need to focus that amount of attention on the left. I'm telling you right now. But you do need them on how the left is anti-Semitic. And there's a reason why you need to focus that amount of attention on the left-wing words of anti-Semitism. Because he told me over a year ago. So this conversation is about my connection to Tree of Life, the synagogue that had the shooting in Pittsburgh, and that they shut down the temple after the FBI raid of Mar-a-Lago.
What up, Joseph?
The judge's temple. And Wick said we have to fight for the free speech of odious ideas like Nazis. But then I try to clearly show you
Their odious ideas allows us to express there's no such thing as absolute free speech that exists in this earth. Like
Right.
no government, no institution, no group has and allows absolute free speech.
in comes Brianna Wu. So there is a reason why you have to cover left-wing anti-Semitism in Israel. It's Brianna Wu.
What up, Brielle?
So this is back in November 24 now. So I then show Wick's change in behavior. You got to see the change in content. You got to see his. I didn't clip it. I showed a large portion of the conversation. So if you want the details, it's in here. You just have to watch it. It's not that long. Just watch it. If I'm boring, put it on 1.5 or 2. So then I explained that I DM'd Wick directly and told him, you look terrible. Please stop doing this. You look like a piece of shit. You look like an asshole. This doesn't go well for you. And what I mean by this doesn't go well for you is being controlled by Brianna Wu and doing this content and watching you have the emotion and the yelling about this one topic when a year ago you were advocating for Nazis at my temple were fine.
Nice.
You like all of your.
Yeah, I need to do something about it. It's kind of woofing right now, but I'm playing around.
Being is dedicated to Israel. It didn't make any sense. So the next thing I did, this is a very concise explanation that she's a political operative. She runs a PAC and she wants to pay streamers. Now,
this is only a 3-minute video. I'm going to play that next.
She's talking about Rebellion PAC and that she wants to pay streamers. This is what she said. She wants to be Rebellion PAC and pay streamers, just like the 2 sponsored streams that Wick did, sponsored by Rebellion PAC. So you have actual activity, sponsored streams, backed up with her saying she wants to sponsor streams. So they're paying for the content originally, right? We all agree Rebellion PAC and Brianna Wu were paying for content. You might not say they told us what to
Oh,
to
you
say
were
exactly.
talking. You were answering, Joseph.
But they asked certain guests to be on a panel. They asked it to be about a topic, and they were able to use that content for their marketing purposes. Okay? Then, from there, I did a full segment from a stream that I cut down to try to make it easier. Brianna Wu exposed, confirmed she's paying streamers. So you can go through that and find evidence that I gave you. There's also stream after stream after stream.
I mean, how can anybody say what I did was hard to follow when I gave him the fucking roadmap? Like, I literally gave him a roadmap.
Trying to lay it out. The whole purpose of the content I've been doing about these people, one, trolling Wick, but trying to lay this out for anybody that'll look.
So, like, here's my fucking page. So here's the Brianna Wu. Here's Wick sparking out. Here's Brianna Wu confessing. Those are 5 months ago. Here's 4 months ago. Brianna Wu confirms she's paying streamers. Here's 4 months ago. 3 ways to weaponize anti-Semitism that includes Brianna Wu. Here's a warning. Here's the roadmap. Like, if you didn't watch any of them, yeah, sure. I didn't make any sense because you didn't watch any of them. So, this is a cut-down version. It's a 3-minute video from a 16-minute video that Chud did when Brianna Wu called in to try to get ahead of the leaks that President Sunday did, exposing Brianna Wu as a liar and a hypocrite.
I don't know, Chad. Something I appreciate about your stream is I feel like you're as done with the nut jobs on the left as I am, and it's just it's a really goddamn unpleasant part of my job, to be honest with you. There's a really big trend called relational organizing, where you basically get people and you reach out to them across the different social media platforms and get them activated. I think it makes more sense for the party to invest in Twitch and YouTube
Trump
and all
said
this content.
What up, Ross?
And
how are you,
My
Mrs.?
job is political organizing, right? I've gotten some money. I've been working on actually paying some streamers to do democratic organizing behind the scenes, right? This is utterly routine. All kinds of people are paid for stuff. I believe streamers should be paid for organizing, right? I'm trying to bring some new revenue streams into this space. He's going after me about that one stuff. Yeah,
isn't that against
ridiculous.
the rules? Isn't that against? Wait, no, isn't that against TOS? I think you could do political organising on these platforms, can you?
It's not sponsorship necessarily to, like I don't go and say, hey, please make this video, please do X, please do Y. It's more like, paying people to come, like, organize on issues, to talk about the content that we think is effective, to put that out, that kind of thing. I don't think, I would never, maybe we would at some point. It's just like paying someone, say, we will give you X dollars to do Y video. That's just not something that makes sense to me. This is something I've been talking about behind the scenes. When I worked the Nina Turner race, there was one television ad that we did. And, this was for one television station, one time, a 20-second ad, in that market. And it cost like $27,000. So you look at the effects of that, and then you think about the cost of actually, organizing streamers in the context of a political campaign. I think it's money that makes more sense to spend there, right? Yeah, I just think we need to do more organizing in this space. The thing about the party is the higher ups are so conservative in the sense that they really have a 90s playbook about how elections should work. This is going to be over $1 billion election, and I bet you a lot of money, over half of that $1 billion, is going to go to TV ads this cycle. So it's just a real struggle to get new techniques introduced, if that makes sense. It's just so, I don't know.
What up there,
Chad,
Bert?
something I appreciate about your stream is I feel like you're as done with the nut jobs on the left as I am, and it's just it's a really goddamned unpleasant part of my job, to be honest with you.
Dude, comrade, what the fuck are you on about? You're literally this isn't your therapy session. Nobody's arguing with you. Nobody's even talking to you. You're just spurging out. What do you want me to do? Defend lefties that I don't know? Just pay attention to the fucking stream. God damn. Fucking morons around here. So we went through all of the process. We went through some of the stuff about the business, and there were dozens of streams. All of it was there. And if anybody had any questions, which would have proved they were curious, they'd have asked. But none of them asked any questions. They all just either told me I was wrong, or, who cares, or it's fine, or anything along those lines. And so, as I say, the people that weren't paid by Progressive Victory and covering it up, the people like Beckett who were like, give me a week, I'll give you an info dump. And that was 3 months ago. Just all this stuff, making their own personal decisions about what's important, what's not. And carrying water for Progressive Victory, as I said earlier, whether it was Kit, whether it was Rezzi or Beckett, who all were downplaying what was going on, either covering for PV, mocking people that were exposing PV and trying to convince others it was some sort of conspiracy and ignore them. And we saw the Charlie memes back in December as I was explaining that Brianna Wu's coming in and paying money. We saw a kid explain exactly what I was saying, and that Brianna Wu shows up in these metas, and that I explain. He understands that she's coming in and paying streamers, and he understands because he knows it. But then when Dylan shows up, all of a sudden it's F-bombs is some schizo, he's nuts, and he thinks Brianna Wu owns Wick, and she's like an overlord. And the reason he did that is because Dylan Burns is in PV, and he didn't want to hurt his reputation. He didn't want to, be seen as going against the grain and hurting them, because, I don't know.
Or just expand their scope to let's...
So this was, what was this, 2 days ago? A day ago, it says. Might have been 2 days ago. And Rezzivaer spent, this is 8 hours. He did another hour and a half on Twitch. And in 9.5 hours, he watched at max 2.5 hours of content. And Rezzivaer is like the male Ico, where he spent 2 hours to get 20 minutes into my conversation with Will, and all he did was complain about me and why I'm talking to Will and what a waste, and Will doesn't know anything. So literally while playing it, he was just ignoring it. And this is what he does every time. He just says I'm wrong, plays the content but doesn't really pay attention, spends the whole time shitting on me for some reason, and then when somebody points out, he was right, there's I don't know, it's I don't want to psychoanalyze, but it is fucking wild how much he loses his mind about me.
Also try to get larger non-affiliated creators who we have no network.
So this was the conversation I mentioned
earlier.
That'll
be a worthwhile investment that I took away from your summary.
This was the conversation between President Sunday, Kuiman, and
the kid cop, the guy that was a cop to kids.
Well, I mean, for PV, but I mean, at this point, the reason why.
You know, he uses his experience in the military and policing children as an authority. And I've never seen him get through a conversation without mentioning his fucking credentials.
Talking about it anymore, because as you say, like, cat's kind of out of the bag. We're already kind of committed to something. And
maybe next election cycle they won't. Maybe they'll say it's too much.
The PV Chud Logic say something racist, deport the blacks video is already a thing. Like, we're kind of past that point. And I think the problem you're looking at here is,
does anybody care?
The day that somebody actually makes a PV hit piece, they will care a lot.
Yeah. As I said, at the end of the one video, the problem is these people don't realize what they're getting into. And as I said back in November, what happens with these multi-channel networks is they don't realize what they're attached to. And it likely creates a lot of harm for them. Now, the funny thing is, what's going on with them now is like the best possible outcome of the downfall so far. You know, they tread lightly. They didn't, they didn't, fuck, what was I saying? Hold on.
Thing, like, we're kind of past that point. And I think the problem
you know, if you look at the cicada multi-channel networks, those people end up getting stalked, harassed, lawsuits. They get their fucking families doxxed. Like, that shit, the cicada shit was ugly. Same with the multi-channel networks behind Pizzagate. If you started to go against the narrative, they went after you. And whether it was going after and doing videos on Lift the Veil or anybody, the whole thing just blows up. And everybody goes after each other. And some of these people like Jesse and Pavana, they're stuck in this cycle. They're doing the same content of being attacked. And, you know, I like Tacos, but that happens to her too. You see Tacos get caught up in this never-ending drama and doing better of leaving it alone. But when they talk about you, you just got to let it go unless you're specifically doing something for a reason. And then you know what's going to happen and you let it go. So the people from PV are getting the best possible result out of things falling apart. Like, the Vosh stuff could have put a stink on all of them. But a righty hasn't picked that up yet. The Chud stuff could have put a stink on all of them, but the right hasn't picked that up yet. But if I was on the right, I would be saving this for September. And then I would do this big expose in September, and I'd blow up PV. I mean, it would be so easy. Look at how the entire right wing is able to make one Twitter post into the whole left. What do you think they're going to be able to do with this? Oh, look at this racism. Look at this fucking animated child horsecock porn. This progressive organization is as degenerate as all the progressives, and this is why we need to pass these laws. Like, it's pretty fucking simple what they could do. Nice. What up? So, you look at Connor and you look at the embarrassment that he is, and you look at Wick's channel and you look at the metrics. If he stops getting paid by PV, he's basically ended his internet career.
Does anybody care?
The day that somebody actually makes a PV hit piece, they will care a lot. They are going to care a hell of a lot the day it happens, and that is the beginning of the hit piece.
Well, nobody cares about PV is the thing, but if people did care about PV, and for example,
does anybody care about the Chud Logic clip? Because the whole thing is, we all got to start at zero.
No, but the point is,
I mean, I just don't understand the extreme lack of foresight. Like, not understanding that the behaviors you have echo into the future, and it's on the internet.
If PV gets big enough, there will be an incentive to attack it, and anything stupid that's been done now will be used, is the point to be made, I think.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem.
Yeah.
Here's the problem. The organization, as you say, is ambitious, but you guys have the mindset of losers on YouTube who have no stake whatsoever in their image. The problem is, if you start getting to that point where you're actually reaching out to people who are more respectable and bigger even than Vosh or Destiny, and those.
This is what I said to Black Yamada. Well, you just don't want money in the space. No, I want money in the space, and I want opportunity in the space. But not being curious and not giving a fuck about how you do this, that's going to keep money from being in the space. As Missy's trying to explain, these politicians don't want to touch the space. And so you're working with an organization and a bunch of douchebags that, like, will echo forever about why people don't want in this space. Like, if you looked at this as, let's be the model
so that other organizations want to come here. But instead, you guys are like, give me my bag. I'll do whatever you tell me. No, I'll hide my affiliations. I'll look like an idiot and go on panels.
Exists, by the way, then that stuff being there, people are going to be like, I like the idea of canvassing, but I don't know if I want to, throw my name in and attach it to this organization that has like this baggage with it. I'm gonna.
Keldosh, Connor isn't dumb. He's playing dumb here.
I don't know. I think he is dumb.
This is a Woozian tactic. All right.
I wish they realized it was all connected. Hunter Biden, Brianna Wu, the killing fields. You're fucking retarded. Like, I'm telling you to tread lightly because I have no desire for you to be here. Like, I would have already banned you, but that's not the way I do things. So I'm telling you to tread lightly because I don't like you. I think you're a shit person.
Right? And when I say it's a Woozian tactic, and that's it, that's what it is. It's exactly what F-Bombs was saying 5 months ago, but he was crazy. Dankness. Yeah.
Okay, so Dankness says, I should probably pull chat up. Hold on. Okay, hold on.
I'm gonna
Keldosh, Connor isn't dumb. He's playing dumb here. Connor knows what he's doing. This is a Woozian tactic. All right. And when I say it's a Woozian tactic, and that's it, that's what it is. It's exactly what F-Bombs was saying 5 months ago, but he was crazy. Dankness.
True. I showed you. I just showed it to you. I showed you the whole roadmap. I showed you the roadmap. I showed you the videos. I laid it all out. But every single time Rez looked at anything I did, he said it was wrong and he shit on it. But now I'm right and he's shitting on it. I mean, for some reason, it's too hard to go, yeah, he was right. I should have listened. But instead, even when he says I'm right, he has to be an asshole about it. Why? I don't know. Seems like a broken man.
Yeah, F-Bombs.
Maybe this is the Golden Dawn style.
Did stuff without the proper evidence and background of it.
I didn't have the proper evidence. Literally, when I gave it to you, you put the video, you start the video and you go, he doesn't know what he's talking about. It's going to be wrong. Even if he's right, he's wrong. Everything he does is wrong. He's a conspiracy maniac. He's obsessed.
He just guessed and he got it right. We get the evidence.
No, you don't understand. I don't give a fuck about these people. See, what people don't understand is I'm not part of the drama. I'm not part of the team. I'm not part of the Let's Grow drama channels. When I do stuff like this, there's a very specific purpose. And I've already learned there's no reason to talk to Rezzy. There's no reason to talk to Kid. There's no reason to talk to Beckett. There's no reason to talk to the PV people or Kuhlman. I talked to Sunday twice, and he proved he can't get beyond Brianna Wu. Now, he's explaining the things that are the problem, but when Connor says there's other people just like Sam, he's not curious about the organization. He already knows everything about the organization.
Evidence of it, and then we reevaluate it because we can substantiate.
Yeah, like I'm a mercenary. My job is to expose bullshit. Rezzy debate, especially if he gets owned. Well, Rezzy won't talk to me because he doesn't like the way I do things. Because he's learned what I do is, because I've explained it, first, my conversations aren't the most exciting to watch. Because I'm a salesperson. I spent decades in consultative selling, training selling, coaching, all the writing programs for this bullshit. Whether it was multi-level marketing, whether it was the car business, the insurance business, the real estate business, the sign business, I've written all the sales programs for all of them. Well, not all the sales programs, but I've written sales programs. I was a new agent trainer that designed, what up, Rumble, that designed the training. Understanding human behavior and behavioral modification, it's what I did. It's even my formal education. So there's no, the Rezzivaer and them have proven, unless they discover it for themselves,
unless they discover it for themselves, they're not they're not going to believe it. Like, Rezzivaer complains that I gave him the information to look up, but also I gave the information that he could just watch, but he has to discover it for himself. Right? He's got to discover it for himself, or it's a lie. If I say it, it's a lie. If he says it, it must be true. So it's my job to get people to a position where they're going to come to a crossroads and accept what I would have asked in the first place. But if I don't spend a half an hour closing off the escape routes that they're going to use, then if I start with the real question, they're just going to go and run and move the goalposts. But if I already close the doors because they've said these aren't real things, by the time I get to the question, their brain is broken. It's how President Sunday gets to a point where he goes, yeah, free money's normal. A week after, he said there's no such thing as free money because you cut all the escape routes out. You already know all the standard objections. So you handle the objections before they become objections. This is just the process. So Rezzivaer won't talk to me because he can't be honest enough with himself to get to the point where he can accept the answers if they disagree with him. It's impossible for him, especially when it comes to me, to sit there and go, you know what? I was a dick. You triggered me. I should have listened. Instead, it's he was right, but he was wrong. He got lucky. Right?
Differentiate it. That's the issue. You know what I mean?
I'm a woo-wop. A mercenary doesn't have to be hired, moron.
That's the issue. F-Bomb says stuff, gets it right sometimes, and then the stuff that he gets right survives.
Right, so just tell me what I got wrong. I mean, you've made this statement, this claim so many times. It should be easy to go, I watched this thing from F-Bombs and it was totally wrong. But there's never one of those. Got his karma in advance.
He got right. Okay, yeah, he is right.
Into lesbians.
Okay. You know.
I just love Rezzi's so funny because he does get, I don't know if he's performing or not, but he fucking loses it.
And gets pointed to as stuff that he got right. Okay, yeah, he is right about it being a psyop. Okay.
So I guessed in November that it was a psyop. I mean, how would anybody guess that? How would anybody say that? Oh my God. It's not like I've been doing 2 years of research to get to here. Oh my God. When streaming, I think I trigger him.
You know.
Based on private conversations as well.
But that's the thing. Him going ahead and saying it 5 months ago didn't get anyone to admit like the whole payment structure and have like any conversation about it. Because that's it. You need to fucking
say that Battleship podcast is something else.
I hate to say it. Like that's kind of my thing. Is like.
Well, I'd rather him bust his nut inside my eye to show me where he comes from.
If F-Bombs would be able to communicate it would be fine. If F-Bombs listen to other people,
Right. If I listened to you, I would have just said kid didn't know and that this wasn't real. No, I should have listened to you. You're right. I should have.
And they tell him we can't do it. It'd be fine. I had a conversation with him like a year ago.
Here's the thing. You'll find this in most of the pieces I make about Progressive Victory. My goal isn't to take down Progressive Victory. My goal is not to hurt any of the streamers. Literally, my goal still is, if you watch the conversation with Will, my goal is to help them start doing things the right way so that they can make this a successful and more appealing process, so that they don't end up in some bullshit. Nice. Like, my fucking goal is to get them to go, yeah, we're lying and we should stop doing that because that could get us in trouble.
Feels accurate.
About something totally different, and it was about effectuality of like, how you would spend your political energy and whatnot. And I'm like, yes, you can have success with what you're doing, but I don't think you're going to have that much success with it. And he couldn't get that. He couldn't get matters
What's
of scale.
success? Literally, my goal, as I explained to you privately, was I'm not going to be the face of this. I don't have any sway. I will do this stuff, and then you guys can clip it up and use it how you see fit, as you said you were going to do. But you chose not to do that. Why? To protect Kid and PV, obviously. Well, I won't talk to them. I know.
Through his head. And then he just started sending me shit.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying like he's schizophrenic or anything. I'm not. I'm just saying he's doing the internet thing.
He does.
He sent me a fucking, like, I swear.
Now, look. What, listen, I guessed. Listen, this one's my favorite. I guessed and got lucky, and the stuff I get right sticks. But I didn't really do the research. I just guessed. But also, listen.
It's like if F-bombs would be able to communicate it, it would be fine. If F-bombs listen to other people.
I couldn't communicate what was going on.
When they tell them we can't do it, it'd be fine. I had a conversation with them like a year ago about something totally different. And it was about effectuality of like, how you would spend your political energy.
Meanwhile, this was 2 years ago. And this dude is still traumatized by a conversation we had 2 years ago. What up, Abattoir? He's still traumatized about a conversation from 2 years ago. Dude, what is wrong with you? Literally, we had one conversation.
Whatnot. And I'm like, yes, you can have success with what you're doing, but I don't think you're going to have that much success with it. And he couldn't get that. He couldn't get matters of scale through his head.
Matters of scale? What are you talking about? Matters of scale. I was documenting the coup.
And then he just started sending me shit. And I'm not saying like he's schizophrenic or anything. I'm not. I'm just saying he's doing the internet thing where he sent me a fucking, like, I swear to God, it was more fucking, it was like a black paper of shit. It was like a bunch of fucking links. And then it's like I start looking through them and I'm like, I don't even, I kind of get what this one's saying. I get what this one's saying. And you're just telling me to pull it all together, but it's.
So I guessed, okay? I guessed and got lucky. And I don't communicate or share the information, but I did send you too much information to pull it all together. And you did kind of look at some of it and you kind of got it, but you never asked a single question. You never came back and said, tell me about this. You say, I gave you too much information, but also I didn't do the research. So what did I give you? Hunter Biden dick pics? Like, I sent you all the information, and also I didn't do the research, I guess. That I didn't communicate, but I over-communicated. Dude, what is, like, pick one. Pick one.
It's not being presented. F-Bombs has that problem with communication. He knows that.
I don't have a problem with communication. People don't like my communication style because you actually have to, like, be open. Like Jungler, a buddy of mine, Jungler, we do a show Thursday nights called Uninformed. When it started about a year ago, he was all like 100% bought into right-wing propaganda, and I focus on exposing right-wing propaganda, but also there's a lot of stories on the left that are very inaccurate. And when I say left, I mean like mainstream media left primarily. Sometimes left of that, but primarily, because that's where we end up being able to find real stuff. And we're able to talk about the details of stuff, the nuance. And if I am learning something, I learn something. If he's learning something, he learns something. The problem is too many people want to be right instead of get it right. I used to have a saying on the wall of my sign shop, it's better to get it right than to be right. And sadly, Rezzivaer is stuck in he has to be right even at the expense of getting it right.
Okay, so if that's the fucking problem, I don't care. Like, and I'm gonna be honest, drop the fucking F-bombs cocksucking here, dude. Like, for the love of God, if you can't communicate what you're thinking, did you even think it? Does it matter? All right, like if I can't communicate
if a tree falls in the woods.
Drop the fucking.
Actually, I had that question on a physics exam.
Of course I'd go. If Rezzy asked me to talk, I would talk to him. If he was like, hey, can we talk? I'd be like, yeah, fine. I don't normally turn down conversations. But, like, I don't I operate where I'm a catalyst. I'm not the focus. I'm the guy in the back of the room who taught the people in the front of the room what to do or put them in the position to do it, whether they know it or not.
F-bombs cocksucking here, dude. Like, for the love of God, if you can't communicate what you're thinking, did you even think it? Does it matter?
I started to say, I did have a question on a physics test. If a tree falls in the woods, did it make a sound? And the answer is yes. It did make a sound because it produces sound waves, whether anybody observed them or not. Sound waves do not require an observer to exist.
All right.
Doppler effect does need an observer.
Like, if I can't communicate my fucking ideas, then it doesn't matter. I like F-bombs. I do. I think I have said that Wick was too mean to him. I just said I can't deal with him. F-bomb is one of the reasons why.
You did say Wick was too mean to me. Yes. Fucking nerd. I know. He did say Wick was too mean to me. But also, he literally called me a harasser and stalker, and I think I was doxing and all this stuff. And just like every other claim about me, nobody's required to show a clip. And this is the double standard of the whole thing. Rezzivaer has never shown you a clip of something I got wrong. Why?
Why? I was like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't debate people, right? That was actually it.
Are you saying your one conversation with me was the end of your debating? God damn, dude, therapy. If I create that kind of trauma in you, therapy.
Like, if I can't communicate my fucking ideas, then it doesn't matter. I like F-bombs. I do. I think I have said that Wick was too mean to him. I've just said I can't deal with him. F-bomb is one of the reasons why I didn't.
Look, you haven't seen me go try to defend myself that I'm not insane. I say, if you know anything about me, I say, if anybody makes a point that I can disagree with, that is like, here's an actual argument, then we can debate it. But all claims are ad hom bullshit. He's wrong. No. Tell me what I'm wrong about. Give me an example. No example. What are we going to debate? You're crazy. I'm not crazy. Show me examples. What are we going to debate? They're just attacks. There's nothing behind them. So if you have enough self-confidence, you don't need to go running around to defend yourself when people talk shit on you. Like, is everybody that weak?
I was like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't debate.
Maybe
people.
if I wanted to grow a channel and go fucking, like, that's what I would do, but that's not what we do here.
Right? That was actually it. Can't look at the links to evidence? No. Here's the thing. He presents evidence that doesn't make sense, and then he wants to present more evidence.
But if it doesn't make sense, obviously you'd ask a question, right? So I send you stuff, and you don't look at it. You don't ask about it. And then I send you my videos, and you don't watch them, but on stream you, like, start them, or you talk shit on them, or you take 8 hours to watch a 30-minute video. I mean, and the whole time, it's this guy's an idiot, this guy's an idiot, this guy's an idiot. And then when you find out I'm right, you say, I didn't do any research. And then you say, I gave you too much research, too hard to communicate, but...
Once you go ahead and bite in on all that shit, he doesn't put all of it out. He forces you to do this tactic of you conceptualize something, and it's gotcha fucking tactics. Oh, you think this is this thing? Yes. So this thing is this thing, right? Sure. This thing is this thing then, right? Sure. But then it's like there's these minutia parts that he leaves out. He doesn't link full evidence when he does this shit. He leads people down conversation trees, and then claims that means that they're saying something meaningful when realistically they're just going down his conversation tree.
Sample? Surely you'll show a clip like, look, let me show you. This is what he does. He does it so often, like, look, let me show you.
It's because he's going ahead and working backwards, not forwards.
Right. In what way? I'm sure you'll explain it.
That's the problem.
Right.
He has an idea of what's happening,
Right.
and that is right.
Right. And he sent you all the evidence, but I couldn't figure it out, so he was just guessing.
But then he can't explain why it's right or present why it's right, so he's incidentally
I
right.
am a problem. Dude, I don't know what it is about me, but people freak the fuck out.
You get a beard lineup? No, I just fucking became a robot. It's a good way to say it's a thing. Like, that's the issues with it. He has really good instincts, yeah. The problem,
Just instincts. Dude, literally my degree is in this shit. I mean, every single thing is a dismissal. It's not that I'm grading as fuck. Okay. It's not that, you know, maybe I did the work. It's that I have instincts. It's not that I do the research. It's not that I read lawsuits between these people. I just guess.
is that when you don't agree with his instincts, he then goes ahead and throws you into the whole thing. He literally said, oh, Kid Knockin didn't speak out about this shit, with no consideration for the fact that Kid had taken a bit of time off streaming, was like having a lot of fucking monetary issues at home, and all this other shit. But no, Kid Knockin on his stream where he's supposed to make money is supposed to go ahead and cover this stuff.
No, he's good. Look, I learned a lot about the internet. I was fairly new to the internet. Like, you got to understand, when I was in college, okay, I'm old. I graduated in 99. My first cell phone was in like 97. And at that point, we still had to go to the fucking Carnegie Library and Hillman Library to use the intranet to go pull books and shit, to look at microfiche. So, like, I didn't grow up with any of this technology. Or, you know, Kuhlman talks about being on the internet and in these forums for a decade. And so, a South Carolina Gamecockin. So I had a lot of shit to learn about how the internet works. And after going through, what up, Ricky Bobby? After going through like the war room stuff, I started to understand people are just shit. And not only are they shit, but a lot of people they're afraid to go against the grain because they don't want to speak out against the powerful people or the larger group. And so they get into this rhythm, this rut of like not wanting to call out really disgusting behavior that they would call out if it was outside of the community. If it didn't risk their bag or their reputation, they would call it out. But if you start calling it out and you start calling them out, they get into the why do you care? You don't know what you're talking about. And it becomes very defensive. Like my whole life, my communication style does cause people to be defensive. And so I'm a little bit on a back foot because anybody that doesn't have a lot of self-confidence or self-awareness does start to get defensive, and that's antithetical to getting anywhere.
That's like, you know, maybe he doesn't really have enough to fucking say about it and doesn't really care, right? But that makes Kid somebody who is literally at that time working with PV.
Let's see what he just said here. Let's slow this down a little bit. What did he just say?
Stream where he's supposed to make money is supposed to go ahead and cover this stuff, not this shit, with no consideration for the fact that Kid is that when you don't agree with his instincts, he then goes ahead and throws you into the whole thing. He literally said, oh, Kid Knockin didn't speak out about this shit.
Yeah, he didn't. I mean, you guys tried to tell me he didn't know. So now you admit he didn't speak out, but back then he didn't know. Fucking clowns, man. So when I said Kid Knockin' knew in December, Or in February, I showed the kid knocking new, right? He tried to tell me I was wrong. Now he's admitting it, but that he did cover it up, and he had a reason to protect Kid, because he's got more loyalty to Kid and to help cover up for PV than, honesty. So you knew in December what was going on with PV, and you're still sitting there saying I didn't have any evidence.
With no consideration for the fact that Kid had taken a bit of time off streaming, was having a lot of fucking...
Right. I should have thought about Kid's life instead of talking about this multi-channel network where Kid recognized it was dangerous for people and how bad it was, but didn't want to tell anybody. And I should have been like, I should let them all lie because, what? Because what? What?
Monetary issues.
Did you worry about fucking Tom's monetary issue with the Tom tent? No, you don't give a fuck. But this is your boy. So truth doesn't matter when it's your boy.
Home and all this other shit. But no, Kid Not Kin on his stream where he's supposed to make
Weird leftist rats being dishonest. What's up, Sourcing?
Is supposed to go ahead and cover this stuff that's got, maybe he doesn't really have enough to fucking say about and doesn't really care.
He doesn't care. He just doesn't care. That's all. So he manipulated the audience. He lied about me. So that's fine. And I should be considering him. I didn't ask him to comment on any of this. He chose to lie about me and what I was saying. He chose to discredit me. He chose to make it a conspiracy while knowing what was going on. And what I'm supposed to do is be more considerate of Kid Not Kin lying about me and discrediting me as you do every time you talk about me. I'm supposed to care more about you than what? Fuck you. Grow some skin. If he didn't lie, then he wouldn't be lying.
Having a lot of fucking monetary issues at home and all this other shit. But no, Kid...
Rezzivaer's admitting why he covered up. He's admitting that he covered up for PV by covering up for Kid. He carries weight for PV, but much like Kid, he was too dumb to get paid to do their work for them. He just did it out of the kindness of his heart. But I don't talk to them. Okay. Jeffrey Rose and Donahue, the Attorney General and the Deputy, all they did was not participate in the coup. Is that enough? They knew a coup was going on. They were being directed by the White House to do things that were against the law. They knew it, and they just didn't say anything. Is that good enough? Because that's your level right now. Let me discredit the guy exposing it, call him crazy, say he doesn't know what he's talking about. Now let me admit that he was right all along and that he gave me all the evidence, but I wanted to cover up for Kid Not Kin, so I did. And when you keep reminding me about it, I get mad, and so I freak out on you because I'm not a big enough of a fucking self-aware, self-confident soul where I can go, yeah, I fucked that up. Same thing that the PV people can't do. I literally said it to Will. What would rectify this? They just say, we probably should have said this earlier, but we all work with PV and we're proud of it, and we look forward to growing. And move on. It's done. You're fucking done then. You're fucking done. But the reason this all came out is because everybody was being anti-Semitic. And nobody wanted to address the anti-Semitism because I was combining the anti-Semitism with woo and the bullshit because that's why it was happening.
You don't agree with his instincts? He then goes ahead and throws you into the whole...
Imagine I'm dealing with direct anti-Semitism during that conversation. And I explained woo, but she doesn't understand and doesn't know what that stuff is. I explained the payment and the corruption and multi-channel networks and the meta of Brianna Wu. It was all in there. It was all in that stream in fucking early December. But I just guessed.
Whole thing. He literally said, oh, Kid Not Kin didn't speak out about this shit.
Yeah.
With no consideration for the fact that Kid had taken a bit of time off streaming, was having a lot of fucking monetary issues at home.
Don't care.
All this other shit. But
skill issue.
No, Kid Not Kin on his stream where he's supposed to make money is supposed to go ahead and cover this stuff.
What up,
that's
Meatbag?
got, like, you know, maybe he doesn't really have enough to fucking say about and doesn't really care. Right?
We cared enough to lie and discredit it.
But that makes Kid somebody who is literally at that time working with PV.
He was working with PV at that time. So he did know. Is that what?
Doesn't really care.
You're a good guy.
But that makes Kid somebody who is literally at that time working with PV. That's what he did. He did that shit to me.
No, I didn't say you were working with PV. Never. Just pull the clip, dude. Pull the clip that says you're working with PV. Just pull it. You're fighting ghosts, dude. Pull the clip. I said you're worse than working with PV. You're dumber. Like, I can't be any clearer. You're dumber than working for PV because you're still explaining why it was worth covering up and not get paid. Why it was willing to harm your reputation with, say, people like me, because you were willing to discredit it and lie and be bullshit when you knew what was going on. You knew, but you still act like you didn't know. I didn't say you worked with them. I said you're dumber than that. You didn't take the money and still covered for them.
Said that I was covering for PV. If you make everyone your fucking enemy, it's not my fucking problem.
If everybody is going to go against facts, yes. If you're going to lie, I will be your enemy. Yeah, very simple. If you disagree with me, but you're being honest, I got no problem with that because those are your beliefs. But when you're lying, yeah, you're my enemy. Because what I do is expose bullshit. That's all the stream is.
When no one listens to you. I should know because I do that shit. And I don't give a fuck. And I don't whine like a pratty little bitch.
This sounds like whining, isn't it? I mean, this sounds like whining, doesn't it? I wasn't in the chat. I wasn't in Kuiman's chat. I wasn't in any of the conversation chats. I haven't reached out to any of these people. I haven't tried to participate in any of this. I don't give a fuck about any of these people. So who's whining? You're whining. You've been whining for 9 hours about how fucked up PV is and you don't want to think about it. What up, Queen Bee? Funny.
If people don't want to listen to you, learn how to fucking talk to them. Or get the...
You're liars. Or get the fuck out. What do you think I've done? Like, I'm still in your head over a conversation from 2 years ago, some DMs, and somebody trying to get you to admit the truth. And it's not even me.
The fuck over yourself.
I wasn't even in your chat. The 9.5 hours I wasn't in your chat. But I got to get over myself.
Else, because there are other
it sounds like projection.
Too. That's sort of antithetical to the success of your movement. You actually need to care about your image.
Figure out which one I chose. Jay Boise, good afternoon, love you.
It's also going to potentially hurt the reputations of the people.
Jay Boise.
who have ambitions in politics beyond PV later on.
Fair play.
We started this conversation talking about Brianna Vu canvassing for Trent Lott. Like, this stuff does carry, and that's before like Twitter was a thing.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. If there's anything that I learned from Twitch and YouTube poll,
was it? He was mean, irresponsible for Rezzy to cover me. They're all pussies. They're all little bitches. They're pussies. Like, imagine that.
It's like, Giga chat it and then shut the fuck up for 2 weeks and then people move on.
You know what's funny is I always show the material. One way to understand media literacy is you look at how they source their material. So I make claims and I do a 4-hour stream showing the claim. They make claims
and move on. Show me where I was wrong. Show me where I was crazy. Show me where any of it. I actually, if I was kid, I would agree. It's irresponsible for you to help me be exposed as a fraud like this. How dare you, Rezzivaer, let that guy that exposes me as a fucking fraud have some airtime.
On to the next thing. And honestly, I think that as a political strategy is going to be the same thing moving.
Who the fuck? Like, I'm sorry. Everyone that defends F-bombs, can someone defend him saying, I'm involved with PV?
Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it for you. I'll do it for you. I kind of just did it, but I'll do it for you again. You, just a moment ago, explained why it made sense to cover up for Kid and how irresponsible I was being or how rude I was being by not helping cover up PV or helping cover up that Kid knew about PV, that I was being irresponsible by exposing that because it might hurt Kid Nutkin. And I said people like you who aren't getting paid, who are covering up for PV and making it harder for people to get the message. For whatever reason, you're not getting paid and you're carrying their water. So, yeah, that's the explanation. Now, would you like to refute that? No, you're mauled.
If he's always fucking right, can he...
How's Kid involved? So, the story behind Kid being involved is in December-ish, Kid went to a couple meetings. Then, at some point in December, I think that's when they moved to 1099s. And at that point, Kid decided he didn't want to be involved. And then on Christmas, he wrote a 5-item reason why he's turning down PV, like a warning to the people in Progressive Victory. Like, I don't want to do this because I don't know where the money's coming from. I don't know what their motivations are going to be, and I don't want to be tied to something that is going to ask me to violate my own values. And like all these reasons why he has integrity, so he's not joining Progressive Victory. But at the same time of saying that, he also saw me explaining this was what was going on. I was having a conversation with Nina about my video showing Wick's change in behavior. And during that, I was asked about why do I care about Brianna Wu, and I explained I care about Brianna Wu because often Brianna Wu comes up in my research about Gamergate, 2016 election, Pizzagate, showing up in 2020, like constantly showing up in these meta periods. And what I study a lot of is LARPs. If you look into Cicada and you understand like who kind of game jacked it and stole the narrative and how they're attached to different cults. And, like there's just a lot of stuff that goes on in the underbelly that people don't know about. And that's what we roll around in here. And I saw the pattern and explained in early December why I cared about Wu. I explained in November to Sunday that it wasn't even about Wu. It was about this thing that was going on that is creating these multi-channel networks where people are going to get hurt. So I had been explaining it for like a month by the time I had the conversation with Nina. And when Kid Not Kin watched my conversation with Nina, he first kind of cognizantly figured out what I was saying and explained that I see Brianna Wu as what I just explained, and that I see her as a political operative because she owns a rebellion pact with Cenk. There's a lot of rumors and weird stuff that goes on around TYT, too big to get into now, but I always have an eye on what's going on with TYT. Brianna works with Cenk, and all this weird stuff was going on. So he understood I was saying that, and he understood that I was saying that they're coming in and paying streamers and that could become a problem because of XYZ. But then when Dylan Burns raided in, he changed his tune completely
and started covering up and calling me crazy and schizo and reframing that everything that I was saying that he knew was true, he was saying it wasn't true. And he was aware what he was doing because he was already at the meetings. And then once this information started coming out, he kept covering up for it at my expense. Concise instead of trying to tie it into a larger narrative. No, his criticisms were concise. And why didn't they come out till February when he wrote them on Christmas? Why didn't he tell the community what was going on if it was so bad when he put it out? Why did he hide it? Why did he cover up for Progressive Victory and then hide the criticisms for 2 months, a month and a half? Why? Why did he tell people I was wrong and that I'm crazy while hiding it? Yeah, okay.
Explain that shit.
Like, I've already proved it. I've sent Rezzy the streams. I'm sure I have them saved. I mean,
Everybody's quiet? Is everybody quiet?
Wait, what was he yelling about?
As a political strategy is going to be the same thing moving.
Who the fuck? Like, I'm sorry. Everyone that defends F-bombs, can someone defend him saying, I'm involved with
Yeah, we did.
PD?
Okay, we did that part.
If he's always fucking right, can he explain that shit?
Yeah.
Everybody's quiet? Is everybody quiet now? Is F-bombs not your profit anymore?
Okay, Prophet. Prophet makes the assumption that I'm guessing. Okay? Prophet works under the assumption that I'm guessing. So, if I was guessing, then maybe there's an education to the guessing. You know, maybe if you study the organizational structures of these things, maybe if you know the actual fucking players behind the scenes, if you've read the articles, if you know who these fucking people are,
that comment spawned
maybe
theory, which was
it's not just a fucking guess.
And I decided that I wanted to.
Maybe.
Furthermore,
maybe,
psychological
just maybe, if you know the organizations and you know the structures, just fucking maybe, it might not be a guess. If you study the information and how it works and the flow of it and who's doing it, you can kind of guess a lot. If you know Tracy Beans and how the Be the Media started, and you know Lisa Clapier, and you know how the citizen journalism started back in Occupy, maybe there's patterns to this shit. But no, when you don't understand it, it's all just blood magic, right, bro?
I am a false prophet. God is a superstition.
Settle down, Golden Dawn.
Can say it louder for the people in the fucking back.
You can say it louder, but you sound like you're losing it.
Forward. I'm not going to tell you that these problems don't exist.
What about Poppy, though?
Somebody's got to get in there and make moves. And the thing that I respect about PD is I think you can moral frog about all these concerns all day, but the truth is that PV is the people who are actually getting in and getting dirty.
This is what I was saying months ago. These people believe that they have like a political career now. This is the danger. This is a delusion. This is literally a delusion. Videos on the trucker convoy LARP? No, I don't think so, because at that time I just spent a lot of time watching, if it was the American one, watching Mayor. I was late to the Canadian one. I caught some of the ranch parts, cowboy ranch parts, but I did get into some. I was watching the truckers, not the LARP. We were watching the actual people, not looking at it. I was looking at it directly.
And doing work.
Well,
so,
I mean,
are you talking about Santa and Trooper or what's his name? Stormtrooper, Chud Trooper.
Though, like you say that, but then there's a reason why Brandon was no longer affiliated with the organization, and yet everybody who's now
Oreo and Wyckoff
affiliated with it has been, for the most part, I think with few exceptions, picked by her. So if that's the case,
Doe, AP, yeah.
Clearly that's not really what's going on here, because it seems like you guys are cognizant that you are capable of damaging your image, and indeed a lot of you guys have. I think the presence of a lot of you, including present company, not taking a jab at you, just as a blunt fact. I don't know. Like you can.
Isn't that a risk you run by participating in this kind of space in the first place?
These are particular risks that you specifically avoid when you're operating this kind of space. If you
he just spurgs out some more.
Because you're
Who else is doing this?
Public leader.
I don't have timestamps.
With streamers?
What up, Queen Bee?
Virtually nobody I'm aware of, so it's a lost opportunity.
So that's actually something that Sunday's wrong about. Is one, James from the internet at one point, he got paid by a political org to do some shit on stream, and he disclosed it. Another person that did it was...
Yeah, sorry, Queen Bee, I was missing those chats. I'm still getting used to YouTube. Maybe if I put it over here somewhere.
Was Fabian Liberty. He mentioned it at one point during his stuff, right? And that's it. Wait, Dankness, I didn't ask about Kid, I asked about myself, bruh.
Yeah, you just admitted it, bruh. You just admitted it, bruh. You were covering for Kid, bruh.
I'm asking about myself, bruh. I'm not asking about Kid, I'm asking about myself. He is a false prophet.
What is he talking about? What is he talking about? A false prophet? What's happening?
Pick the battles where you can see what he's saying.
Or you can ask.
Where I'm working for and covering up the PV shit. When I'm the one...
I didn't say working for, just covering up.
...who refuses to talk to the fucking shills. Tell me where. Show me where.
It's only 1 1/4.
Sense. Stop deifying him because...
You know, it's funny, though. If I put it on 1 1/2 for like a minute and then slow it to 1 1/4, it sounds normal.
He gets shit right because he makes a lot of fucking claims.
I make a lot of claims, so I get a lot of shit wrong. You've been making that claim for a long time. You've been saying... In fact, I even DM'd you and said, you say I get a lot of stuff wrong. Can you just show a clip? If I get a lot of stuff wrong, just show the clip.
We're not VC or banning. I don't give a shit enough. Because after today, guess what? We're not going to be talking about F-bombs until the next time the shit comes up, are we? No.
Well, who's asking you to talk about F-bombs? What is wrong with this dude?
And you know what? Connor did badly enough. He's going to go get whipped by fucking, Brianna Wu in their fucking...
What was the purpose of this? Okay. Here's the motive. I watch, okay, like I'm talking directly to you and I'm taking time to talk to you. I've studied some of the grossest subversive multi-channel networks that are out there. I've spoken to some of the people directly involved. Understanding how they use bots and alts and a lot of forms of manipulation to, over a period of time, get you to cover certain things and get you into certain groups. And it only takes them like $100, a couple $100, and like a month, depending on who it is. Depending on their circumstances and their mental state, anywhere from like a few weeks to a few months. And they have this like funnel of how to do it. They have a profile. They know the different communities in which to go into. And they create these networks. And much like trying to leave a cult, you end up losing who you are. You end up isolating yourself from other people. And you put yourself in a position where everything you've worked toward up to joining that thing all gets taken away from you. Any hopes and dreams you had of progressing in this thing that you're excited about, they destroy it. And what I recognized was the multi-channel network process
of changing people's content. And I made a video showing Wix changing content. And I reached out and I explained to him and other people, Wix going down a road that I think is going to hurt him, and I don't want to see him do it, and blah, 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 blah. And the more it became obvious what was happening, and the more like bigger people I learned were involved, each time I learned new stuff, I learned that people were lying to me in the past and hiding it. And when you see this many people joining together to lack integrity as a group, and the ridiculous lying and fools they're making of themselves with retarded explanations, you begin to see the harm of this. And what I've said all along is this is more destructive for the people doing it and the communities than it is going to be productive. And that's because of the lying, of the hiding, of the manipulation, of being more than happy to have 5 people that all secretly work for PV, be on a panel, pretending that it's not about PV, but praising PV while being paid people. And this is like a lot of nefarious marketing tactics that you see in multi-level marketing and other negative industries. These are the exact same tactics. So when you combine the multi-channel network, the changing of people's behavior and attitudes and their core ideology, and the isolation, you start to see all these mechanisms. All I wanted was for them to not go down the road they're going down, and either do it above board and be honest and like do it in an honorable way that's not going to come back and haunt them, or know what you're getting into. Like here. It's in the video that I played earlier, okay? I'm not just coming up with ad hoc shit afterwards.
I do want to
about their impact for the purpose. So I'm not judging it, but that's what he wants to do. It's his stated agenda. If we take a look at what really worries me, if everything I said was absolute, that's such a weird binary, Primordial. So like, this one person disclosed this thing, the guy that already discloses it, isn't that proof that they're not hiding? What about everybody else? Absolutely nothing. And there's nothing to worry about. We're to use you to do that for this infrastructure. Here you go. This man, to sum up his goal, he believes he is Luffy from One Piece, and Bannon is like one of the bad people from One Piece. And so unlike Gamergate and Bannon, one of the bad guys who built this infrastructure of weaponizing groups of people by using online influence to control other people and manipulate opinions, he wants to be the good guy version of that and duplicate the infrastructure that Bannon and Flynn and the right have built. He wants to use you to do that for the Democrats. So I'm not judging it, but that's what he wants to do. It's his stated agenda. If we take a look at what really worries me, if everything I said was absolutely nothing, and there's nothing to worry about, that's wonderful. But I do think people should know the answers to these questions and should have done their research. But now that we're here and they're already entrenched and they're telling you all they're getting paid for is meetings, when that is preposterous. Like, they don't have a political resume. They're not getting paid to go to a survey group once a week and help the PAC decide where to go. The leader of the PAC has already said he's going to control where to go. It's not like a democratic process. You guys are just part of a collective, and these meetings and paying you for the meetings are part of the inflated value that they're giving you. They're throwing money at you for the purpose of getting you to buy in and for them to like jumpstart this process instead of faking it organically. When they haven't asked where the $500,000 from the unnamed donor came from for Sam to do this business, and they don't know who's funding it, how can they know what the actual objectives of the company are? And I think
that would be something they really want to care about. So the harm that I'm seeing is this false sense of security and values. We've already witnessed progressive victory creators project the idea they are now part of a political industry and are talking about their impact and how they want to talk to other PACs, claiming they can stop making money on stream and can be fine because of progressive victory. In reality, you guys won the lotto, but winning a scratch off is not a skill. Recognize you are a tool for their goals and not the other way around. Sam said you are replaceable, and frankly, you are. Look at this as the gift that it is and not as some long-term change in the trajectory of your career. Because if you don't really know who's paying you, and if everything is going through the LLC, then you don't know what's going on, and you have a lot of questions asked. But if this is going through the PAC, the total receipts they brought in were just over 80,000. How are they paying when this is all they do? If it's not, where is the vast increase in funding coming from? Now, you can get this year's raw data, put all this together. The whole point was for them to ask a fucking question about what they're involved in. Basically, what happened over the last 5 months is somebody dropped their fucking purse. The space dropped their purse, right? The whole space dropped its purse and drove away. And I was like, oh shit, you're going to need this. And I hopped in my car and tried to bring you your purse back. And the whole time I'm trying to bring you your purse back, you're calling the cops and reinforcements that somebody's chasing you. Somebody's after you. Somebody's trying to get you. And you're doing everything you can to stop me because I'm chasing you, to give you your fucking shit back. And all of them have just decided we need to attack, when this entire thing has been about, here's your fucking purse. Stop acting like you're some bullshit. Know what you're doing. But they've all been tricked into multi-level marketing. And anybody that tells them that what they're doing isn't like what they think they're doing, they need to be attacked. Just like anybody that sells Tupperware or Mary Kay or fucking Lululemon or any of that bullshit. And you're like, yo, do you know what you're getting into? Right? Do you know what you're getting into? And they're like, no, you just hate me. You don't want to see me happy. And then you lose your fucking family and you get a divorce because you sacrificed your goddamn morals and you chased everybody away who was just trying to tell you what the fuck was going on. But no, let's find out more about how I'm a false prophet and that I just guessed at things.
Dungeon thing that they got, and he's just gonna be like, no, mommy, no, mommy, no. I need to do better. Next time I'll do better. I won't fall to the Sunday, but Sunday will always win. And you know why he'll always fucking win? Sunday will always win because he's a man without God. And it's not because God doesn't exist. God doesn't believe in Sunday. Okay, he has become the essence of the Sabbath. And as the Sabbath has become, he is the dawn. He is the fucking light that comes.
I just want to be clear. I am the false prophet. I wonder if that's projection. We do Sunday services. Other than that, I don't know how I'd be. He also says I'm an authoritarian. It's either my way or the highway. I'm an authoritarian.
Comes from the east. He is the shedding of fucking this material world that we live in. He has deterritorialized reality, and now he reterritorializes himself. All right.
What, dude?
He's not a prophet. He's a sociopath.
You okay, bro?
At least he's honest about it.
You okay, bro? Are you all right?
Like you guys had like a really cool and really unique market to kind of pull in, right? Because you had these people who were like big streamers interfacing with PV, and it was great. Vosh was interfacing with PV and plugging it. Destiny was. What you shouldn't have done.
I just said mean things and made you cry.
Was made them attached to it, because now because by dint of making them attached to you, you are attached to them.
Sure. So I'm with you in a certain respect. I think that we all carry reputational risks. I think through close affiliation and association, you carry reputational risks. However, I would also say that carrying shared risk can also build affinity in community. And not
Yes,
only
Okay,
that,
it
but
can.
you don't. But
Yes,
okay,
it
but
can.
you don't. But Destiny does not carry shared risk with PV. Vosh does not carry shared risk with PV. The only thing they risk
I
is
don't know what his
risk.
deal. I don't know what his deal is. I don't know what. I think he has trauma. I think I trigger him. Maybe he has like parent issues, and I remind him of somebody that he can't still. Like I don't know. Unless it's all an act and it's intentional to do this against me, which I would prefer to believe he's traumatized and it's intentional. That's me giving the benefit of the doubt. Because to me, I have some rules, and those rules are to assign intent to people. Because I like to give everybody credit and believe they're not dumb. Because everybody thinks they know what they're doing. So if he thinks he knows what he's doing, I should give him that benefit of the doubt. Rule 1, always assume everything people say is projection and confession. Rule 2, assume everything they do, they're doing with intent, no matter how circus-like it is. Writing them off as dumb is you excusing them. They can be both dumb and dangerous at the same time. So I'm giving Rezzivaer the benefit of the doubt of assuming he's not intentionally attacking me for an ulterior motive, and just that he's triggered. If worse, if there is like a concerted effort where you say kid told him not to talk about me, that is akin to going after somebody's channel. Lobbying people not to watch you only confirms what I've been saying you guys did all along. So if in fact kid said to Rezzivaer, you shouldn't cover me, if that did in fact happen, and I don't know that it did, but if it did in fact happen, then that just proves they do have a fucking coordinated effort. Like, that's even worse. So he's either triggered, which is hilarious, or or worse. Neither are good, unless there's another option. Are there other options that either it's nefarious or he's just spurging out over something that is not rooted in any evidence?
The only one who's actually staking anything out at all is PV. PV is the only one who loses.
But if PV, so here's the thing. So I'm not them, right? Like I don't speak for the organization, but as somebody who has a budding side hustle,
I'm just gonna be
no risk, no.
Is that Addy?
I can't even read I can't even read that comment. I want you to know, I acknowledge it exists.
It was in the YouTube stream chat earlier.
You know, and on top of that, you can make
I'll
the
have to
perfect
see if I
plan.
can find it.
And by the way, hold on. I've listened to you a lot. I would like you to listen.
No, go ahead.
Okay. So you can create the perfect plan to be the perfect creator to do this.
Wait, when you said it was in the YouTube chat and I didn't understand?
I actually don't think he is. I think he's fine. I just think it's like a lot of people just let him get away with some of the weird stuff and then like point to everything else that he's.
They let me get away with the weird stuff and then they point to where I was right. What is he talking about? I don't give a fuck if he does. I really don't. Look, I don't care. I watched him do this, and I wanted to fucking laugh at him spurging out. Like, this is all from, like, somebody else's tweets and me having a conversation with Will. For the schizo jokes, calling crazy. I appreciate that. I can get along with people I don't agree with if they are honestly looking at something. The minute you said you seriously had a question, I treated you seriously and with respect.
Right about. And like, you know, you're I don't know. I'm pretty sure I look
Evidence.
pretty fucking homeless. I sound like I'm fucking half dead all the fucking time. I don't think nobody's fucking paying me, bro.
I didn't say they were paying you. I said it's worse. I said it was worse. You're dumber.
Like, I hate to fucking say it. All right, I know what I am, and I'm fucking okay with that. I would rather be this. I would rather die with my fucking principles. I don't have this preoccupation with living like that. All right. I would rather die on my feet than live on my fucking knees. Okay, kamikaze.
That's the deal.
It's a good deal. For your fucking
It's a good deal. Fuck Rezzy.
True.
Thank you. Thank you for the resub. But that's it. I would rather die. I don't fucking care. Like, it's like I don't have the connections that I think a lot of people do to the world, right? I would rather at least be honest to myself because that's what I got. And I'm fucking down with that shit, dude. All right?
You're down with OPP
project,
also?
et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And as a matter of fact, because I was doing other things with my life at the time, I spent a decade daydreaming about what I was going to do when I finally had the ability to speak with my own voice.
He's a daydreamer.
But the truth is that until you start doing it, you're not going to figure out the risks and rewards, and you're also not going to figure out how to do it. So
yeah, once you finally get something put before you, where you have to make this choice of what you believe in, do you believe in anything? You have to make that choice.
And you made the choice that kids' personal issues in his situation was a bigger concern than the truth. And you covered for him, and you attacked me, and you discredited my videos because you were protecting your buddy. You thought you were doing something noble, and you helped PV and carried water for them, which is how it got this deep.
You get to find out whether all of your boisterous fucking languishing, all the words you've ever said actually meant anything, or if you're just the same fucking roach freak.
I mean, projection is a motherfucker when you realize what you're saying. Like, the PV people are shit because they hid stuff and they're lying and they're corrupt. You hid stuff and were lying and are still lying to cover up that you hid stuff and were lying, but also, since streams are so long, you've let it out that you were lying. Like, I'm just guessing.
That every one of the rest of these scurries little fucks.
That alert is funny.
Really, most people that say that aren't in situations where they have to choose between principles and death. I guess we'll have to find out, Primordial, won't we?
Be that I would so much rather work with somebody who's willing to get in there and get messy than somebody who's going to create the perfect plan from the side.
Now, Primordial, think about this, right? Part of the reason your impression was my concerns were ill-fated or ill-intended. You had that impression because that's what they said. They knew what was going on, and they said, this guy's crazy, and don't listen to him. He's just an idiot. And so everybody's chat would just repeat the same thing. Everybody's chat would repeat either F-Bombs wants the money, which is hilarious, because I've been retired for like 5 years, and I've increased my net worth significantly while being retired. And the idea that like I'm bitter over some money is absolutely astounding. But every chat would do that. And if somebody like Deckness would go into a chat and try to say something nice, they would get attacked. So when they would try to say, maybe you should look at this, they'd have to couple it with insulting me. Like, literally, you'd have to insult me to try to say something nice about me. Because as you see, if you don't add the insults, then they go after you. F-Bombs is on a prolonged mental episode. Stop trying to turn him into content. It's unethical. Well, so that's Kid Not Kin right there. That's a funny joke. That's a funny joke. With attacks, that's fair. No, he seemed that. But he lied until February, where I called him out for lying. And that's when he released the information that he had in December, while calling me a liar the whole time, while mocking what I was saying. Like, it's very simple.
Headlines. That's part of the reason why I was kind of jabbing at Mr. Car Salesman earlier, because while some of his criticisms could be well-founded, I would be
I was typing to what?
Curious if he had ever done anything in his entire fucking life that was politically related.
So I have two responses to that. The first one is I think a lot of this is kind of common sense. The kind of
I
thing
get
that
it.
you don't get this in adulthood.
But what I need you guys to understand. No, I get it, People's Elbow. I'm just riled up too. What I want you guys to reflect on while we're doing this is how you came about the beliefs you have about progressive victory and about the streamers and about me. The only way you came about it was presented to you. Nobody that has a preconceived notion about me watched the content. So the only things anybody knows about what I did is what was presented to them. So all of the misconceptions, all of the misinformation was presented to you by them. And that's what you should reflect on, is what you know is because they presented it to you. And what they presented to you is contrary to the reality of what I'm saying. Like, if people have a preconceived notion about what's going on, and then they hear me and they're like, oh, that was different. The idea is, why is it different?
Politics is probably not for you. Josiah understands the
On his
importance
own
of presentation
supply.
before he got involved with PvP, before he actually went down.
It's just lame.
Abby, what about being on your knees from time to time?
Literally, instead of defending or answering any of the actual claims and clips that I showed for 4 hours, instead of addressing that, he told his community, I'm crazy. It's not worth it. I'm just Polly Peoples. Like, that's the framing to the community. When I've proven over and over again this is what happened, Rezzivaer admitted it. To look cool.
I need to do more drugs. That's that comment. Yep. That's what that comment means.
Yep.
Fuck. Fucked up the thing. I just need to bring this down a little bit. There we go.
I don't actually feel guilty. I think it was fucked up, and I stopped when I realized what was going on. Same thing as when I worked for a fucking predatory insurance company and a predatory mortgage company. You can't realize these things until you're doing them. And then you realize you're doing them and you go, oh, fuck, I have too many morals to continue to do this thing that makes me money.
IRL politics. I think most people who have most people who have worked a normal day job and had to interface with normal people in a professional environment sort of know like.
Also, I guess I was in the car, like I sold car dealerships and like everything people know about me is made up. And nobody bothers to ask. They just make shit up and run around with it. It's really fucking funny.
What the limits are and how to kind of comport yourself. I think people like Vosh and Destiny make money off of being outrageous and getting people hating them.
And that's like the question is like, yeah, it is. You don't know any of the shit until you're tested. But that's the thing. Once you see the test.
And then when you get tested, if you can come clean and be like, yeah, I shouldn't fucking do this. Okay, we got about, I'm not going to go this whole hour. There's like one more spurg out that he does. I don't remember exactly where it is, so we're just going to keep going. But we probably only have about 15 more minutes of this, and then we're going to get into other content.
Then you have to say, well, is that somewhere where I'm going to go? You know? So we'll have to see.
Stuff like that. These are precisely the kinds of people you don't want being the face of your organization. Perfectly fine to profit from them and to try to get like them to, funnel people towards you. But I think having them be the face of your organization, like you will be absorbed by their reputations and not vice versa. You can't keep yourself clean from that. But more to the point, the entire purpose of paying.
Yeah, Sunday is like not a point I ever thought of, but yeah, it is right that they become labeled. Like Connor is labeled as a liberal among conservatives now. He's a Republican in name only, right?
People to get involved is precisely so that you can leverage their large audiences that PV does not have the capacity to generate by itself to bring in people to do canvassing. And so I have to ask, since you mentioned your side hustle, and since it's so much.
Okay, don't overblow this. You're treating this like a battle between God and the devil, and Wick is not a demon.
Well, he kind of is. He kind of is. He's more of a golem, as Kuhlman would say.
Primordial. I think one of us has read several books on demonology. Let me tell you what, buddy. Let me tell you
I'll tell you what.
Get close.
Bigger and more successful than your political content, Connor. Have you leveraged any of that to promote progressive victory? Like, have you used your Warhammer thing to promote progressive victory at all?
I'll be honest, no.
Why?
No, I think it's mostly because
maybe that's what we just do the exorcism.
Dude, I swear to God, my autocorrect on my phone is friends with my ex-wife.
One day. That would be very funny.
Because I didn't think.
Okay, fans were Nazis.
Yeah, that's another reason. Okay, let me give you the real answer.
If 40K fans knew what Connor was doing, they would just move away.
The niche that I operate in is I take content that is already popular, I break it down, and then I basically give you the lore. If you're a veteran, you might learn something new. If you're a new person, this is the context information that you need in order to understand.
Yeah,
what you're
like
seeing on screen, right?
I'm not advocating that people shouldn't watch or enjoy or whatever. I just look. I speak my truth. I show my evidence. If people want to refute any of the claims I make, I'm always happy to discuss them. If all they want to do is yell and scream without watching things or just fucking attacking my whatever, there's no point. But like, I'll make the claims, and if there's something to discuss, let's do it. If not, either prove I'm wrong or shut the fuck up.
And so,
no, he said Nilla. Okay, it's how we
Yeah,
white
they
people
are.
refer to each other. Okay, can you like accept our culture? All right, Noxie.
Well, I knew when I went after Kid, Rezzivaer was going to behave the way he did. Like, you think I thought he would pick truth over his bud? Fuck out of here.
in a lot of ways, I have not built. I think part of my failure, if you want to call it that, as a streamer or streamer personality, is because my most popular content is actually not me. It's the content. I am a vehicle through which to consume it better.
And that's fun. See, that's the one thing, Queen Bee. If you go after somebody's channel, normally the community will frown upon that. But if it's somebody like me, it's not worth defending. Only very few who are willing to take fire will do it. It's just easier to go with the grain of I'm toxic than it is to be honest or to engage. So it's really easy for Rezzivaer to just go around and talk shit and call me these names because that's what's been accepted. But nobody knows anything about me. They don't know what I do. They don't watch the content, but they all have a story about me. So it's easy for them to get away with advocating to hurt me or to make legal defamation of stalking, harassing, doxing, all these things. And you just allow that to happen, even though you know you wouldn't allow that to happen to anybody else. There's a reason. Because it's not worth calling Wick out and making him own it. It's okay to not agree with it, but making somebody own it like you would make it if he said it about Kid, it's not worth it.
So as a result, I don't have like a huge cult of personality around the 40K channel. It's just successful because I make it more palatable for people. So the star of the 40K content is 40K. It's not me.
Okay, so why wouldn't you use, nonetheless, that larger platform to promote progressive victory?
I think I should. I think you're right that I should, and I will.
So you can do that tonight?
I will talk to PV about how
what's there to think about? What's there to think about, Connor? What are you worried about? Are you perhaps, if I may speculate, are you perhaps concerned that your audience may take a dim view of you or have a negative reaction to you promoting a specifically progressive political organization that might, for example, hurt your bottom line and hurt your audience, which is legitimate, by the way? Is that possibly...
Connor, good afternoon, love you. You know that she just says the hard R. Stop lying to us, okay?
Not because it's the specific organization.
But is it because it's progressive?
And it's not because of the drama. Yeah.
But is it because it's progressive?
Yeah.
Okay, but haven't you just acknowleded my point?
Yeah,
well,
custodes have you got, Connor? Yeah.
Yeah, I have zero. I plan on having zero.
Oh, okay,
I literally had a debate on Wick TV the other week in which I said I would keep my Space Marines all male, even if they add female.
That's not very progressive of you, Connor.
It's not.
Yeah, the Charlie meme started in like December. When he watched the Nina conversation. Yeah.
Sunday, we're interrupting the serious thought.
No.
And he goaded it on because it was to his benefit. It was to his benefit to allow the audience to accept fully the misconception of what was going on.
So isn't that, though, like
at the expense of me and the truth?
Acknowledgement of my point.
Of course, reputational damage is absolutely a thing. Yeah. But also no risk, no reward. And so I have to.
Well, hang on. Slow down. No risk, no reward. First of all, that doesn't mean anything. But secondly, you wouldn't.
Absolutely mean something. But
I agree. If he didn't know, it would be fine. But he did know, and that's the problem. Yep. The whole issue is disclosure, and for no pay at all, he chose not to disclose.
Doesn't though, right? It's a...
And then since he didn't disclose, they all covered it up.
Why doesn't it? I'm going to push you on this. Why does no risk, no reward not mean anything?
Well, because sometimes the prudent decision
No,
is to not
that's the
take
problem. We don't know. We know that there are like over a dozen streamers being paid.
unnecessary risks, and the reward is you don't lose things that you need for future engagements.
Okay. Did you use an operative word that modified the words that I used?
Uh,
I think the word was unnecessary, but please continue.
Well, that's kind of important though, because you're using this to justify what I consider to be an unnecessary risk.
Okay, what
that
about
it's
necessary
completely-
risks?
What about necessary? Well, they're necessary. There's no debate about them. Is it necessary for you to associate progressive victory with?
Does the
with-
platitude or cliche of no risk, no reward mean something? And even if you say no, I don't care. We can move on. No problem.
Well, it's
The whole point of no risk, no reward is to say that you still probably shouldn't take unnecessary risks, or you're just being a fucking idiot. Which I
Dankness says, Dankness is a warrior in here. He's the one getting yelled at. That's not true. I think you gave him an unfair rub. Well, I can just. No, I can't. Unfair rub. Even though at the beginning on the whole thing, you were like, I'm taking care of whatever with him because it's not fair to use his mental.
think Connor has decided to take this from the barbarian theology. All right. And I'm just like, it is what it is. Dang, it's not true. Taking care of him, it's not fair to use his mental.
This is hilarious. This is what I was waiting for. This is what I was waiting for. This is the coup de grace. Oh, so good. Hold on, wait. Let's do this in real speed. Oh, this is good.
How the fuck am I going to criticize people that are using his mental without using his mental?
I don't judge people's motivations until they prove it. I will say, I think this is what might be going on. But then when I get facts that Kid knew, after doing a stream saying, I think Kid knew, did Kid know? And then there's like damage control. Well, yeah, that's fucking obvious then. Especially when the date on the thing is the 25th.
Have I not been fucking clear in my language for months when he expressed displeasure at it? At what apparently was a misunderstanding, that I went ahead and corrected my language. I have done everything in my power, and you fucking retard F-bomb shills are continuing to hold a fucking line.
So let me just explain to you what, and I have the evidence, but I'm not going to waste your time with it. I sent to either Weppy or Rezzivaer. I can't remember at the moment, and again, I'm not going to go look it up right at the moment, but if anybody sends me a message and says, can I have that, I'll get it for you. I have Tuna Chip talking to Wick, where Wick says, I won't talk to F-bombs and nobody should because he's fucking crazy. I have him saying to Nina that I'm fucking crazy and I'm having a mental breakdown. I have him doing 10 times worse than that to Rezzivaer. And all that there is I don't think he should do that. And that I've said it was wrong. But also, I'm obsessed. I'm impossible to understand. I'm wrong all the time. I'm an authoritarian. I'm a false prophet. Like, what are we fucking doing, bro?
There's nothing good enough for you freaks. I swear to fucking God.
Have a
I am
mental
losing
breakdown?
my fucking
If only I cared about the performative nature of it, that would be goddamn hilarious.
mind.
I made it look in November that I was having a mental breakdown, but that was intentional.
There is nothing
That time
enough
too.
for you fucking freaks.
Wait, here we go.
Continuing to hold a fucking line. There is nothing incorrect.
Hold the line, guys, of the false prophet. Hold the line of the false prophet.
Am I going to criticize people that are using his mental without using his mental?
Ah.
Have I not been fucking clear in my language for months when he expressed
You know what's weird is to talk about me all these times and never talk to me. Like, you knew what you did with Wick, all of this. Hold the line. What up, Weppy? I can't believe I don't have a Bumble clock sound.
At it at what apparently was a misunderstanding that I went ahead and corrected my language. I have done everything in my power, and you fucking retard
so funny.
F-bomb shills are
Come on, you F-bomb shills and your false prophet.
continuing to hold a fucking line. There is nothing good enough
Hold!
for you. I swear to fucking God, I am losing my fucking mind.
Yes, that we agree
There
on.
is
We agree. We agree. We've come to a consensus.
nothing enough for you fucking freaks.
You freaks won't accept any amount of degradation of the man as proof that I didn't do that.
I am sick of it.
Yeah, what are we going to say? Shekels next? You going to talk about my nose?
I am sick of fucking pretending like there's ever enough. That's why no one wants to deal with him, even when they agree. I can't cover F-bomb shit because of that.
Oh, God.
Congratulations. You played your fucking
Yo,
selves.
guys, you played yourselves. He's not going to cover us anymore. He was doing such a good job of accurately portraying my message, and now he's not going to cover me anymore. Whatever are we going to do? What? Yeah, this is too funny. What is he doing? Are you okay, bro? Does anybody know this guy in real life? Can you give him a hug? Does he?
If you are unwilling to take necessary or unnecessary risks,
Oh,
will
nice.
you obtain a reward?
Fox, thanks for the...
I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, it's too funny.
Let's move on. Let's move on to your broader
Was that
point.
it? Was he done?
Well, I think we kind of established the broader point, which is like you being firmly you would endanger your platform
I'm tired of the gay seals.
by being openly associated with PV. Well, similarly, if PV,
It's better have
for
my
example,
money.
has the reputation of being pro-Israel over pro-Palestine,
I think that might have been
or
it.
of gender identity, who are themselves trying to audience.
As we're talking about, those are the
Yeah, Dankness, because I had to ask you what you had a problem with, because you obviously had a problem, because you keep fucking saying the same shit over and over and over again. So I ask you to clarify. You clarify, and I tell you, okay, so it's just the same shit that I've gone ahead and covered before 100 fucking times. All right? So yes, Dankness, I'm tired of it. Because I've done this before. I've played the game before. I'm tired of playing it. I now will go ahead and go back to not covering F-Bombs content.
Oh, no.
I thought maybe it would be fucking okay for once. But guess what? It's not.
You know how he covered F-Bombs content? Why the fuck is he talking to Will? Will doesn't know anything. F-Bombs is an idiot. Why is he talking to Will? F-Bombs is stupid. How dumb is F-Bombs? You didn't cover it. You shit on it. It was on. You didn't listen. You didn't listen to the conclusions like you never do. You just fucking Alex Jones your way out of it.
It's not.
Oh, wait. Oh, my bad.
It's actually not.
Oh.
Unfortunately, it is what it is. I'm not doing it because he's mentally deranged. I'm not doing it for any of these fucking reasons. I'm doing it because I'm fucking sick of this shit.
I would be too.
There is nothing enough. There is no amount of blood that I could shed that would satiate you. There would be no amount of blood that would satiate F-bombs.
You do? What do you want them to do? Emulation? Like, what will be enough, Dankness?
And when you get to that point, you are no longer someone that I can interact with. I apologize that I am not strong enough to go ahead and cut these babes loose, to strangle them in their cribs and bleed them dry.
Wait, what? Wait, what? Did I?
There is nothing enough, there is no amount of blood that I could shed that would satiate you. There would be no amount of blood that would satiate F-bombs. And when you get to that point, you are no longer someone that I can interact with. I apologize that I am not strong enough to go ahead and cut these babes loose.
Who are these babes?
Did it just happen? Did he literally, did I miss it and he did that? No. Missy caught it. I think Missy caught it. Now, I'm pretty sure I heard the thing, right? He did the thing. He did the thing where he admitted, like, he did the thing. This was supposed to just be a fun joke. He wasn't supposed to confess like that. He was not supposed to confess like that. That's blood libel, yes. Why did he do that? Why are these people so bad at this? Never go full retard.
Like chatters that I thought were not mentally retarded, but look at them be full mentally retarded. No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it today. Like, I got f***ing AIDS from all the chatters.
Yes, you are absolutely right. Not only 100%, but actually 1,000%.
So there you have it. Jews control everything.
Oh, that's greasy. That's really fucking greasy. Yeah, it's greasy. Greasy.
Dude, if you're going to do this, know when to...
Shut the fuck up.
I mean, seriously, you gotta be careful and know...
Don't forget to shut the fuck up.
No, Rezzivaer, don't confess.
Shut the fuck up. You don't say a fucking word. You know what you do? You shut the fuck up.
Oh, God. I can't believe that just happened. I remember when I saw a kid do that, because I didn't know it. Like, I knew something happened, but I didn't see the moment. When I saw it on stream, I was like, oh, my God. And it's the same thing. He just literally did it.
Enough. There is no amount of blood that I could shed that would satiate. There is what it is. I'm not doing it because he's mentally deranged. I'm not doing it for any of these fucking reasons. I'm doing it because I'm fucking sick of this shit. There is nothing enough. There is no amount of blood that I could shed that would satiate you. There would be no amount of blood that would satiate F-bombs. And when you get to that point, you are no longer someone that I can interact with. I apologize that I am not strong enough to go ahead and cut these babes loose, to strangle them in their cribs and bleed them dry. I am sorry I'm not that person. I'm sorry that that's what this is.
So, if the whole misconception of what my agenda is there because they made it up, he doesn't realize he's the baddie. But they're so busy defending everybody that they keep admitting what they're doing. People say F-bombs loops, F-bomb loops. He covers the same stuff over and over again. But if you're here, every time we cover it, there's something new. There's a new layer. There's another level of understanding. But if all you do is look from the outside and go, oh, he's talking about this again, then you'll just make up what it is without ever knowing. And they don't ask and they don't give a fuck. And it's pretty wild. I mean, I have to admit, it's pretty fucking wild. I'm glad I'm at a place where I am mentally, like, very well for the most part. I got therapy tomorrow. Like, I'm in an amazing spot that these people can literally attack me and talk about my mental illness as if it's a topic and not talk to me about it, just talk about me for months. And yet I don't spurg out at them. I don't attack them. I don't give a fuck. Haters gonna hate. That's right, for one. Like, I'm as mentally stable as it comes here, and they all are fucked up freaks. And as long as they all just band together and say it's me, they don't have to face their fucking bullshit. But literally, through his spurg out, he just admitted he knows what's going on, and he thinks exposing more of it is hurting his friends, and he doesn't want to hurt his friends. So instead, I'll attack F-bombs to keep people from hurting my friends. Still admitting that he's carrying water for progressive victory, whether he intends it or not. That's literally what he just admitted to, that he's carrying water for PV at my expense, and he's not getting paid for it. I mean, maybe that's why he's freaking out. I don't really know. But, like, maybe the idea of knowing what you're doing is fucky, and maybe not cognizantly knowing, but, like, subconsciously knowing, like, I'm not comfortable with what I'm doing, but I'm doing it anyway. I mean, I don't know what it is, but it's pretty weak. They deny your Jewish heritage? Yeah. Actual Jew. I'm an actual Jew. Okay. Let's move on. I need to take a quick second. So let me round this out with what? We'll end with this one.
The same progressive,
where we started.
Democratic Jewish people,
I'll be right back.
I would posit that they are probably going to be some of the strongest, most important allies that we all need for that policy objective. I think that mocking is an important tool, but let's not bring American Jews into that. It's hard to think of a progressive movement in the United States as not had a lot of Jewish people there, but let's not bring American Jews into that. I also think that it's important for non-Jews like me. But let's not bring American Jews into that. I think a lot of Jewish people read that and it sets off their Holocaust alarm. I would guess that the memories of the Holocaust are really like playing into this for a lot of Jewish people. So hold on just one second. It's hard to hear the rest of what you're saying when you're lapsing into statements like that. I understand being angry. I understand perceiving this as propaganda, but let's not bring American Jews into it. I also think that it's important for non-Jews like me. But let's not bring American Jews into it. I think it's so counterproductive for any of the policy goals it sounds like we all agree on. My message is very straightforward. I do not support Israel's foreign policy at all. I don't. I do absolutely strongly support my Jewish American friends that have nothing to do with Netanyahu. And I think that it's really important that those of us on the left, if we're serious about getting the policy outcomes we want, get to be really vocal about that. Because we are headed into another stupid, destructive cultural war that's going to result with the Republicans in charge in 2024. And then they're going to turn Palestine into a parking lot and let Netanyahu do whatever he wants. But why would a Jewish person get in a coalition with that? Just being really honest. But let's not bring American Jews into it. I also think that it's important for non-Jews like me. But let's not bring American Jews into it. I hear what you're saying about seeing that this could be propaganda. I think another way to look at it is, do you remember after 9/11?
Quote, I have a blockbuster Trump story. 6 words that would put in motion just about everything that happened next. A scramble from Trump allies to suppress a story that could have landed like a bombshell in the 2016 campaign. Those words were in a text message sent from Keith Davidson. Keith Davidson is the attorney for both of the women at the heart of the story, Playboy playmate Karen McDougal and porn star Stormy Daniels. It was a text sent to then editor of the National Enquirer, Dylan Howard. Now, we mention this because Davidson is on the stand right now on day 9 of the Donald Trump election interference hush money trial, with explosive testimony being given right now about his dealings with AMI and Donald Trump's innermost circle. Earlier today, he told the court and the jury that Dylan Howard texted him back a response, quote, talk first thing. I will get you more than anyone for it. You know why. Davidson says that he understood even back then that the owner of the National Enquirer, AMI owner David Pecker, and Donald Trump were good friends. Just 2 weeks after those texts were exchanged, Karen McDougal met with Dylan Howard. It was where Karen McDougal alleged that she had an affair with Donald Trump that went on for, quote, several...
Okay, sorry. Took longer than thought. All right, so let's move on. No, I don't want to do that yet. Well, yeah, we'll do these real quick. I like to do a segment that keeps us up to date on what's going on in different court cases. I have a small couple little updates about current court cases, but then I have a bit to remind you guys what's going on with the Supreme Court, who is now in charge of deciding if the president is allowed to assassinate
his perceived rivals.
Was just found in criminal contempt in the criminal trial against him in Manhattan for.
So apparently, Trump was put on the naughty step for the tune of $9,000 for violating his gag order. And this is the information.
Falsification of business records to interfere with the 2016 election. The criminal contempt order relates to 9 separate violations of the gag order imposed on Donald Trump as a criminal defendant for Trump's statements and threats directed at witnesses, Donald Trump's statements regarding the jury. It should also be noted that there is another contempt hearing that will be taking place in a few days on.
Yeah, because apparently after the first contempt hearing was scheduled, little Donnie was like, let me yell about the judge. I want to state for the record that I don't support Biden drone striking Trump. I mean, I got booted from Twitter for a day for stating Biden should do what the Supreme Court was arguing should be done. And I guess the Twitter felt that my completely legal speech without $8 a month needed to be suppressed. Elon, why do I have to pay $8 a month for free speech, Elon?
On Thursday, Justice Merchan said he was constrained by New York law in that he had to limit the monetary contempt sanction to $1,000 per criminal contempt violation, although Justice Merchan indicated he would have probably issued a much more significant monetary amount in the sanctioning of Donald Trump. But Justice Merchan did say future violations could lead to incarceration. And again, there is a hearing on Thursday for additional.
Can I just see more drawings of Trump sleeping and farting, please?
Violations by Donald Trump of the gag order. After finding Donald
That'll give me a gag order.
Trump $9,000 and indicating that he thought that that sanction was not enough.
Is Trump going to sell NFTs to raise the $9,000?
Merchan said that in some cases these sanctions should be like $150,000 per violation, but New York law.
Dude, Biden's been roasting Trump lately. It's been pretty funny.
To $1,000 per violation.
I mean, he has no energy when he does it, but it's still pretty funny. It's like Bob Hope.
Merchan then said, defendant Donald Trump is hereby warned that the court will not.
Maybe he is controlled by Obama. He's Bob Hope and change.
Not tolerate continued willful violations of its lawful orders, and that if necessary and appropriate under the circumstances, it, meaning the court, will impose incarceratory punishment, and it is hereby ordered that defendant pay a $1,000 fine for each of the 9 violations of the court's lawful order by close of business on Friday, May 3rd, 2024, and it is further ordered that defendant Donald Trump remove the 7 offending posts, the ones that remain up, from defendant's Truth Social account, and the 2 offending.
I appreciate you being here.
And he did. My understanding is he's removed them. He surrendered, never retreat, always delete.
The courtroom today, he was whining that he was going to have to sit in a, quote, icebox, and then he said that he wanted to be campaigning, but now he's stuck in an icebox. Play this clip.
So I appreciate you being here. Thank you very much, and I'm going to go into the icebox now and sit for about 8 hours or 9 hours. I'd much rather be in Georgia. I'd much rather be in Florida. I'd much rather be in...
I don't understand why Joe Biden and Hunter Biden keep doing this to Donald Trump. It's so unfair.
States that are in place, states that, I'd like to be able to campaign.
And as you all know, Donald Trump had the opportunity yesterday on Monday to campaign. He didn't do that. He had the opportunity last Wednesday to campaign. He didn't do that. Saturday and Sunday, he didn't campaign as well. And again, just how weak and odd is it that he keeps complaining that he has to go into an icebox? Look, our co-host, Karen Free Magnifilo, who worked in that courtroom for almost 30 years.
Yeah, exactly, Rocksmith.
Manhattan District Attorney. She's tried.
His family doesn't show up. That is fucking hilarious.
Many cases before Justice Juan Merchan. I should say she worked about almost 30 years in the courthouse, but she's
no, it was an icebox. This was today.
Considerable time in that courtroom. She's like, so what? That it's cold.
Why doesn't he wear long johns or some shit?
Like, people just deal with it. Like, we never heard other lawyers constantly whining about the temperature of the courtroom. Also, before getting hit with the contempt.
I know, humanize yourself.
Sanctions. Donald Trump showed up and was whining about how he was saying that Charlottesville, where Donald Trump said there were fine people on both sides, that Charlottesville was peanuts. He keeps saying that over and over again. He keeps saying how free.
Okay, I don't really want to get into the
Israel-Palestine stuff. I have a lot of feelings and thoughts, and I'm pretty angry, and it's useless to discuss it right now.
Reason he is, and then on he's not being asked questions about
What
Charlottesville.
up, Mon Jack?
Charlottesville was peanuts. Charlottesville was peanuts. Here, listen to this.
Like it. He said he ran because of Charlottesville. Well, if the people that know Charlottesville, when you extend the statement, it's a big hoax what they say was said, and they understand that.
I'm not going to get drawn into it.
How odd. Let's just take a look at Justice Merchan's criminal contempt order against Donald Trump, just so you can see it for yourself. Here it is in the Supreme Court of the state of New York County. Just so you're not confused, it's the Supreme Court in New York is their lower court. That's the trial court. The Court of Appeal is like normally you would consider the Supreme Court. Their highest court is called the Court of Appeal, right? So when you heard about how the highest court in New York overturned the conviction of Harvey Weinstein, that was the Court of Appeal. The Supreme Court's the trial court. So here it has Judge Juan Merchan says, defendant is charged with 34 counts of falsifying business records in the first degree in violation of Penal Law Section 175.10. The charges arise from allegations that defendant attempted to conceal an illegal scheme to influence the 2016 presidential election. Specifically, the people claim that defendant directed an attorney who worked for his company to pay $130,000 to an adult film actress shortly before the election to prevent her from publicizing an alleged sexual encounter with the defendant. Trial on this matter commenced April 15, 2024. On February 22, 2024, the people filed a motion for an order restricting extrajudicial statements by defendant. It's a gag order. On March 26, 2024, this court granted the people's motion and issued the order. On March 28,
It's been wild. I had 2 snowstorms in the last 2 weeks.
2024, the people filed a pre-motion letter
with like 70s in the middle,
seeking clarification and confirmation of the March 26 order that it applies to family members, because Donald Trump started attacking Justice Merchan's daughter. It then goes on to talk about how the first of the 10 alleged violations by Donald Trump of the gag order occurred basically just like a day or two after the amended order. It says defendant sought an emergency stay of the expanded order from the Appellate Division, First Department, which was denied on April 9, 2024. And then there's a footnote. The first of the 10 alleged violations occurred the following day on April 10, 2024. Then in the findings of fact section right here, it says the courts considered the respective arguments from both parties.
So there were like 10, I think there were claims of 10 claims that he violated it 10 times. And I think the dude did all but one.
Exhibits introduced into evidence at the hearing and all submissions filed in support of and in opposition to the motion for contempt. The people claim that the defendant violated the expanded gag order 10 times. The alleged violations were introduced into evidence at the hearing as People's 1 through 10 as follows, and then it goes through the various Trump media posts, Truth Social posts, April 10th, April 10th, April 13th, April 15th, April 15th, the 10 potential violations. The 10 posts consist of posts made by defendant, a repost of material previously posted by another website social media account, which also contains defendant's words, and repost of material previously posted by another source on another.
For what? Arresting me for what? I'm not allowed to stand up for myself? I thought this was America. Huh? Isn't this America? I'm sorry, I thought this was America.
Their website or social media account, which do not contain commentary by the defendant. Defendant does not dispute that he either posted or reposted all of the 10 posts in question. Rather, he advances several defenses to support his claim that his actions do not constitute a willful violation of the expanded order, and he therefore should not be found liable of criminal contempt. He argues, for example, that reposting another's post does not violate the expanded order because the words are not his own words, but those of someone else, that he believed reposting was okay. And then one of the things in the footnote that the judge explains is that Exhibit 10 is a post containing a quote which defendant attributes to Jesse Waters. However, the words contained within the quotation marks misstate what Jesse Waters actually said. Thus,
fucking got him. They got him. Ladies and gentlemen, walls are closing in on Trump. They got him.
Court's view, this post constitutes the words of defendants himself. Then it has a conclusions of law section. The judiciary law authorizes a court to hold a party in
they did at least come up with 10 things.
Criminal contempt for willful disobedience of a court's lawful mandate. This is to protect the dignity of the judicial system and compel respect for its mandates. Criminal contempt requires a showing of willfulness on the part of the contemptor, which must be proved beyond a reasonable doubt. Thus, for a court to make a finding of criminal contempt, the moving party must establish the existing of a lawful order, expressing an unequivocal mandate.
Is this what I sounded like reading those 53 pages?
Violation of the order, and 3, that it's made with knowledge and is willful. Indeed, a party may be held in contempt for violating an order later found to be unlawful. An adjudication of the contempt occurs at a hearing with due process of law, including notice.
You know what people have been doing lately that I think is way more valuable? They've been transcribing Trump speeches and reading them.
written charges, assistance of counsel, compulsory process for production of evidence, and an opportunity. And then after all of this, the court reaches its decision and says, here's the punishment and order. Criminal contempt is punishable by a fine not exceeding $1,000, by jail not exceeding 30 days, or by both, and the discretion of the court for each violation of a court order. The judiciary law permits this punishment to protect the dignity of the judicial system and to compel respect for its mandates and to punish the contemptor for disobeying a court order. However, the judiciary law does not vest the court with authority to craft an appropriate punishment when a $1,000 fine will not achieve the intended purpose. While $1,000 may suffice in most instances to protect the dignity of the judicial system, to compel respect for its mandates, and to punish the offender for disobeying a court order, it unfortunately will not achieve the desired result for those instances where the contemptor can easily afford such a fine. In those circumstances, it would be preferable if the court could impose a fine more commensurate with the wealth of the contemptor. In some instances, this might be a $2,500 fine. In other cases, it might be a fine of $150,000. Because this court is not cloaked with such discretion, it must therefore consider whether in some instances jail may be necessary for punishment. Therefore, defendant is hereby warned that the court will not tolerate continued willful violations of its lawful orders, and that if necessary and appropriate under circumstances, it will impose an incarceratory punishment, meaning will throw you in jail. And it is hereby ordered that defendant pay a $1,000 fine for each of the 9 violations of this court's lawful order by the close of business on Friday, May 3rd, 2024, and further order that defendant remove the 7 offending posts from defendant's Truth Social account and the 2 offending posts from his campaign website by 2:15 p.m. on Tuesday, April 30th. So ordered, Justice Mershon. There you have it, folks. We'll keep you posted as we learn more here on the Midas Touch Network. Donald Trump found in criminal contempt. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 3 million subscribers.
Enough! Send it to the big house, not the White House.
Yeah, okay. All right, so here's another piece of court. Hunter Biden is about to shove his dick into Fox News. You heard it here. Hunter Biden shoves it into Fox News.
Biden is planning to sue Fox News. According to a letter from his lawyers, the lawsuit is imminent. NBC's Ryan Nobles joins me now.
For you idiots, that means it's going to happen.
And what more can you tell us?
Yeah, that's right, Chris. This is a letter obtained by NBC's Sarah Fitzpatrick that comes from the new attorney that Hunter Biden has entered into a contract with, and that's famed entertainment lawyer Mark Geragos. And in this letter, he sends a warning to the Fox News Corporation and Fox News Digital that they are preparing to sue the company for what they describe as conspiracy and subsequent actions to defame Mr. Biden and paint him in a false light, as well as the unlicensed commercial exploitation of his image, name, and likeness, and the unlawful publication of hacked intimate images of him. And this, of course, stems from the fact that, of course, Hunter Biden has been in the news quite a bit over the past couple of years because of his legal issues, and then, of course, the broad impeachment inquiry that's taking place by the House of Representatives. And essentially what Geragos is arguing in this letter, it's actually a member of his legal team is arguing.
I could go, Taylor.
In this letter is that Fox is unfairly and libelously attacking Hunter Biden when there are no merits to many of the claims that they've been making about him.
You would think that after getting hit with an unprecedented $787.5 million lawsuit just last year for lying, that Fox maybe, just maybe, would have learned its lesson. Clearly that's not the case, as the network is now staring down the barrel of yet another imminent lawsuit for lying. And we'll get into the specifics in a moment. But first, so as not to bury the lead here, I have to say this. Fox's business model is lying to its audience, period. It is not normal for an organization whose job is to report accurate information to its audience to pay hundreds of millions of dollars every year because they cannot stop lying. Fox is not news. It is the propaganda arm of the Republican Party. The reason they won't stop lying is because if they told the truth, it would reflect really poorly on the people that they carry water for. And so instead, they lie, knowing that getting sued for spewing bullshit is a cost of doing business. And considering they are literally in the business of lying to their audience, nothing's going to change.
Yeah, this is exactly what we talked about after the fucking almost $800 million settlement. People need to stop thinking that money is going to put one of these companies out of business. That's not how it works. It's just not. Like, they have, unlike what's believed about my people, and I often joke about, but they literally have a money tree. The people that have endless money support their cause. So they're never going to run out of money. No matter how many times they lose almost $1 billion, it will never matter.
Now, on this specific lawsuit, it centers around the relentless barrage of attacks that Hunter Biden suffered at the hands of Fox, such as claims that Hunter and his father were involved in some sweeping pay-for-play scheme with foreign nations to buy influence in the White House, all predicated on testimony from a whistleblower whose claims were outright lies and who was indicted.
A Russian spy.
By the DOJ for providing false statements.
You gotta love it. The Republicans are like, oh, you bring everything back. You bring everything back. You always say Russia, 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 Russia. But yet it always does. It always does come back. Like, your witness was a Russian spy.
Whose claims were outright lies and who was indicted by the DOJ for providing false statements.
You don't have to make it up. Patrick Byrne was in the White House. He was fucking a Russian spy for 3 years. Like, it does always come back.
Clear that those attacks were baseless. And in fact, we know they were baseless because if there was any merit to these claims, James Comer and Jim Jordan and the rest of this band of Trump sycophants would have fallen over themselves to impeach Joe Biden and recommend charges.
Well, it's not even just the Murdochs. He can get it from the Mercers, from Thiel, from Elon. Like, there's an endless money. How much money between the Heritage Foundation, the Federalist Society, all the think tanks, like,
just for his son.
I hate when they talk about raising money for campaigns too, because the PACs will take care of it.
Instead, well, here's what happened.
We got like 3.5 minutes here. I mean, let's just do the impeachment. I mean, why continue to waste millions?
Okay, there's a part I want to hear. He talks about the number of times it was mentioned.
Path to accountability is criminal referrals. Which is to say, they were punting because they have nothing.
Yeah, true.
And I gotta say, if Jim Jordan or James Comer not only had the opportunity to impeach Joe Biden, but got votes from Democrats to do so, don't you think they would have jumped on it? And yet they didn't because they had nothing. And they always had nothing.
Let's not forget, Jared was given $2 billion against the fucking advice of the people that make the decisions by the Saudis. Hundreds of millions of dollars was spent in Trump properties in the 4 years, and people are convinced he was giving money away. I mean, he stepped over pennies to make dollars, and to them, he's a hero for stepping over the pennies.
Makes the fact that Fox News was spewing this bullshit on a daily basis even more egregious, and from a legal perspective, even more costly. Media Matters did a complete breakdown of the extent to which Fox was instrumental in helping build the house of cards that was the failed impeachment effort against Biden and the defamatory campaign against his son Hunter. Hannity's show alone aired at least 85 Hunter Biden segments in 2023 promoting this.
That's crazy. That is crazy. Wait, he said 8,500. This says 85. This says 85, not 8,500. And it says 85 down here, too. So it's 85, not 8,500.
Bogus bribe story paid from Ukraine.
Still, though, he's on what? 5 days a week? Or just 4? Does he do 5 days or just 4? Let's assume it's 5. Right? That's roughly 20, 22 a month. So that means 22, 44, 66, 88. That means over a year's time, he dedicated 40% of his shows, he talked about Hunter Biden.
Ukrainian oligarch connected to Burisma to Joe Biden.
Unless you have more than one segment in an episode.
Maria Bartiromo pushed the same story more than 200 times in 2023.
Wow, so on the network, it was at least once a day on average. That's wild. Well, maybe not at least, because you got those two, but if you add in the rest of the network, I guarantee it.
In total, and this is from NBC News, Hunter Biden had been a focus of the Fox News coverage for the last several years. A review of the network's transcripts by the group Media Matters cites at least 13,440 mentions of Hunter Biden since...
Dude, that's fucking crazy. They mentioned his name 13,500 times. That is wild. I wonder why everybody on the right is obsessed with Hunter Biden. Because for every time Fox mentions it, it's mentioned another 50 times between Daily Wire, Crowder, Knowles, The Blaze, Just the News, Daily Caller, Daily Wire, fucking
January 2023. Over 13,000 references. Let's be clear, Fox knew what it was doing. As I mentioned at the top, the goal of these
I
broadcasts
wonder how social engineering works.
was never the truth. It was always to alter the narrative. And Fox knew that it was peddling nonsense from the start. There was quite literally never any evidence to back any of this up. Remember, Republicans investigated this exact issue.
Now, if you know the backstory of the Dominion lawsuit, you know that text messages came out that proved they knew they were lying. They knew it was all a lie. They were lying intentionally and for the purpose of overthrowing the election. I mean, they made it obvious.
For 16 months and came up with absolutely nothing. Did that ever give Fox hosts like Hannity and Maria Bartiromo pause? Not even for a second. Instead, they just dug in their heels, spewing these lies because the goal here isn't news. The goal was to present Biden in a negative light. Look, even Fox knows that they're not going to be able to rehab Donald Trump's image. But what they can do is give the optics that Joe Biden is just as corrupt. And hopefully, as far as they're concerned, that would eliminate the subject of corruption as an issue that could hurt Donald Trump, since they would both be on equal footing. When I say that Fox is a propaganda arm of the Republican Party, this is what I mean. And so now, Fox will, of course, get sued, and they'll probably lose, but they don't care, because they exist to serve the GOP. And more often than not, serving the GOP is going to require them inventing scandals to hurt Democrats with. And look, it's worked before. They've had success filling the airwaves with nothing burger scandals before. Benghazi, Hillary's emails. You almost can't blame them for tripling down on the lies. Only now, their lies are so egregious and their legal exposure so obvious that they are, yet again, going to have to pay for it. But hey, when you're in the business of lying, that's just Tuesday. And let's be clear, this isn't even the only lawsuit they're contending with right now. I mentioned the $787 million lawsuit that hands the Dominion voting systems. Fox also agreed to a $12 million settlement with a former employee who claims that she was pressured by Fox to provide false information during the Dominion case. And of course, Fox is facing a staggering $2.7 billion lawsuit at the hands of Smartmatic, another voting systems company that Fox maligned during the 2020 election as part of their effort to undermine that election in order to give cover to Trump, who was trying to steal the election. Fox has conceded in its latest financial disclosures that there could be a material adverse impact on the company's business and financial position. And if you're wondering whether that will stop them from lying in the future, I'd simply ask, have the sums from the past stopped them from lying now? Didn't think so. Nope. And here's the worst part. The people who need to know that Fox is lying...
Yeah, they're not going to know. We get it. I'm going to skip the Supreme Court thing. Basically, it just talks... Oh, hold on.
Hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in that wing? Or are they just, it's the declare the others on the right wing of the court?
Okay, anyway, the reports were all the money that was coming into the Supreme Court and the trips, and that Clarence Thomas said, if we don't get a raise, some of us are going to leave, and then they got a raise, and then they meet Harlan Crow, and they become good buddies. Okay, so let's have some fun making fun of the GOP people. So this is a dude, Reese Waters. I'll link the video. He does funny stuff on the GOP. He does a better job than I would, so we'll use him to tell the story. We're going to take this story to the gravel pit of politics.
Her family, she writes, also owned a male goat that was nasty and mean because it had not been castrated.
Yeah.
Was the goat supposed to castrate himself? Did you give the?
It's wild, Missy. And Smartmatic was, if I'm right, if it's Smartmatic, they were in one county. They were in one county in California, and everybody made it like they fixed the election.
Give the goat some money to go into town and get his castration done, and then he stole the money. He just blew it on carrot wine. Trump's VP pick hit a puppy-sized speed bump last week when, well, I'll let them tell it.
South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem released a new book.
This is such a great story. This woman who pushes fundamentalist Christian ideology in a theocratic fucking Sharia style, who
we need more traditional values and more religion like her. And she's been having an affair with a married man. And murders animals that are perfectly healthy because she's mad.
The Guardian got its hands on a copy, and the outlet is flagging
Dominion,
a section
okay.
in which she describes killing her dog named Cricket. All right, so it begins here. Cricket was a wire hair pointer, about 14 months old, she says, adding that the dog, a female, had a aggressive personality and needed to be trained to be used for hunting pheasants.
She includes her story about the ill-fated Cricket, she says, to illustrate her willingness in politics as well as in South Dakota life to do anything, quote, difficult, messy, and ugly, end quote, if it simply needs to be done.
Now, wait a minute. I'm confused because you said that she had a naturally aggressive personality, but you're trying to prove that you're willing to do anything ugly and messy and whatever has to be done. Y'all sound like two peas in a pod.
By taking Cricket on a pheasant hunt with older dogs, Noam says she hoped to calm the young dog down and begin to teach her how to behave.
She ain't no real Christian. Well, actually, she is, because Christianity is just mental illness, and she's sick. Thank God it's Friday.
All right, unfortunately,
What day is
Cricket
it?
ruined
Tuesday.
the hunt, she said,
What up,
going,
Portland?
quote, out of her mind with excitement, chasing all the birds and having the time of her life.
Now, wait a minute. Now, you went to hunt pheasants, and Cricket is being a problem because she's chasing birds.
Noam describes calling Cricket, then using an electronic collar to attempt to bring her under control.
I wanted to let him tell this story because he has probably the best line I've heard yet.
Nothing worked. Then, on the way home after the hunt, as Noam stopped to talk to a local family, Cricket...
Missy, did I ever tell you the story about me getting in touch with the attorneys from Eric Coomer from Dominion?
escaped Noam's truck and attacked the family's chickens.
So, quote, grabbing one chicken at a time, crunching it to death with one bite, then dropping it to attack another.
Well, it sounds like Cricket is willing to do anything ugly or messy and whatever has to be done. I mean, she should probably get some votes in the South Dakota gubernatorial election.
Cricket, the untrainable dog, Noam writes, behaved like a, quote, trained assassin.
Okay, I'll let him do it.
Did you just say the untrainable dog for hunting operated like a trained assassin?
Cricket, the untrainable dog, Noam writes, behaved like a, quote, trained assassin.
What level did you complete in school?
Untrainable trained assassin.
When Noam finally grabbed Cricket, she says the dog, quote, whipped around to bite me. Then, as the chicken's owner wept, Noam repeatedly apologized, wrote the shocked family a check, quote, for the price they asked, and helped them dispose of the carcasses littering the scene of the crime.
Gotta love the scene of the crime. Now, I have to ask you, does Cricket understand what pheasants are? Because if you're trying to train her to hunt pheasants and she just...
So, when I was researching all the stuff for January 6th, I was reading a lot of court documents. And when I was reading Rudy's deposition in the Eric Coomer lawsuit, which Eric Coomer was like a former vice president in Dominion, and Rudy and Trump and other people directly named him as somebody that affected the election, much like Shea Moss and Ruby Friedman. And so reading his deposition, Rudy admits to the whole crime and who all the people were, the Joe DeGeneva, Victoria Tenzing, Christina Bobb, Boris Epstein, Eastman, Powell, Ellis, and Waldron. And he explains how Waldron was giving him the information and blah, blah, blah. But there was something that got missed. And there was an article from Reuters about Flynn, Ezra Cohen Watnick, Rakelin, and Waldron. And there was an interaction with Waldron and Gohmert that said Gohmert then called the White House, and that connection was like November 7th, which was before any of the connections they asked about to Rudy. So
I called them. It was like December 28th, 2021. I called them. They were on break. I emailed all the names from the docket, and I said what you missed in the Rudy deposition, and I gave him the little blurb from the article in the article, and I got an email the next morning that was like, this is info we didn't have. Thank you. This will help when we go after Waldron and reawaken America. And I was like, I'm doing my research on my own, and I get the confirmation that the attorneys doing the depositions, I helped them. That was wild to me.
Just went ham chasing birds. I believe pheasants are a bird. But then went ham.
But I probably was guessing. I was probably guessing when I sent them the article.
On the chickens, sounds like she just misunderstood what pheasants meant.
Unbelievable.
And that ain't a cricket problem, that's a you problem. Because we already established your command of the English language is limited.
Okay, through it all, Noam says cricket was, quote, the picture
I don't
of
find it very pheasant tasting.
pure joy.
And that's when you knew you had to take cricket out. Ain't gonna be no pure joy around me. Ain't gonna be no pure joy around me. Ain't nothing happy around me. Not my family, certainly not my spouse. I'll get to that one.
Yeah. These people are just the best. They have objective morality.
And certainly not my constituents. If I see pure joy, I'm getting the gun.
I hated that dog, Noam writes, adding that Cricket had proved herself, quote, untrainable, dangerous to anyone she came in contact with, and less than worthless as a hunting dog.
So at that moment, Noam says, I realized I had to put her down.
How do you tell this story like it's a neutral news story? A quote that we have here from the book, it says, I needed to go ahead and put him down. It was one of those times that I needed to exercise my legal right to murder animals.
Noam, who also represented her state in Congress for 8 years, got her gun, then led Cricket to a gravel pit. It was not a pleasant job, she writes, but it had to be done. And after it was over, I realized another unpleasant job needed to be done. Incredibly, Noam's tale
I fully believe all of these people could be replaced with AI.
of slaughter is not finished.
What you mean it's not finished?
Her family, she writes, also owned a male goat that was nasty and mean.
Oh, now you're just a serial killer on the loose. I have watched enough court TV and ID to know what happens when a serial gets a first taste.
So what? The best part is when you hear about the horses. Wait for the horses. Tell me if you can make some sense of this one.
Blood. You ain't fooling me, Christy Noam. You just went off on a spree.
Her family, she writes, also owned a male goat that was nasty and mean because it had not been castrated.
Naturally.
Furthermore, as one knows.
Now here I have to ask you, whose fault was it that the goat, because you're blaming the goat's personality that it hadn't been castrated. Was the goat supposed to castrate himself? Did you give the goat some money to go into town and get his castration done? And then he stole the money. He just blew it on carrot wine and came back fully intact. Is that what happened? Or did you not castrate the goat? The thing that you
give me 1 second. Oh my gosh, too funny. It's too fucking funny.
This is somebody really appearing on TV regularly?
The goat smelled disgusting, musky, rancid, and loved to chase Noam's children, knocking them down and ruining their clothes.
Noam decided to kill the unnamed goat the same way she had just killed Cricket the dog. But though she dragged him to a gravel pit, the goat jumped as she shot and therefore survived the wound. Noam says she went back to her truck, retrieved another shell, and hurried back to the gravel pit and put him down. At that point, Noam writes, she realized the construction crew had watched her kill both animals. The startled workers swiftly got back to work, she writes, only for a school bus to arrive and drop off Noam's children.
So you mean to tell me you also terrified witnesses in the process of your spree? You got terrified construction workers and children on scene, and this was what you just had to put in your memoir?
Kennedy looked around confused. Noam writes of her daughter who asked, hey, where's Cricket? This is not a joke. If you are thinking this is not true, Noam has now defended the scenes in the statements that she made in her own book, saying she loves animals, but tough decisions happen all the time on a farm. In fact, she says they recently put down 3 horses.
Now, as you can probably guess when this hit the timeline, she
Mulder, is that a dog shaking its ass at me?
was in the doghouse.
It's pretty funny. Just so you know, if you find a dog, cat turd, if you find a dog untrainable and you feel like the only answer is to shoot it in cold blood, I'll gladly take the dog to live on the cat turd ranch until I can find a loving home. Wow. You lose, cat turd. That's a rough one.
In fact, so many people tweeted, I can't believe I agree with cat turd, that cat turd was trending. But it went.
I mean, animal or not, it's fucking, people give a fuck about animals. Just because you're a cold-hearted motherfucker doesn't mean the rest of society doesn't love our animals.
Further, with people saying, this is the end of her chance to be Trump's VP pick.
You heartless. This actually qualifies her for VP.
Even Ron DeSantis saw fit to dance on her gravel pit.
Dude, two... Welcome, Crunchy. Too much for Ronnie D. Didn't Ronnie D just walk back his book bans because they banned the Bible?
And to that I say, this?
The rest of a lot of society is retarded. They're vegan. That's true. I mean, I hear you. But you can like your animals.
So this is what did it. So it was totally fine when she went on CNN and
the law in your state.
I don't mourn the loss of cows. I don't mourn the loss of the sheep. Nobody is really upset about the fucking sheep or whatever, the goat or whatever. Nobody really cares. It's the dog. It's the dog. That's it. It's the symbolism of the dog.
Is similar. It's an abortion ban, including areas where a woman is raped or in times of incest. So do you believe that the law in your state goes too far, just as he said about Arizona? Are you with him on that, or do you think that
what the fuck are you talking about, Nord Stream? What are you talking about? What? Imagine coming in here and asking about Nord Stream.
Wrong.
You know, it's interesting because the law in my state was passed decades before I ever became governor. It was a trigger law that said...
Remember when people hated Michael Vick? Yeah, until he became a Steeler. I had a whole stand-up bit about that. Put her in... Well, Michael Vick did his 5 years. Vick did his 5 years. So, I used to do a whole thing about what we'll forgive for 60-plus minutes a week on the football field.
When Roe v. Wade became overturned, that this would be the...
I did it. Me and the guys that made that Titanic 2 sub, we took care of that shit.
Law that would go into place. So that may be a topic that will continue to be discussed in South Dakota. Our law today allows an exception to save the life of the mother, but the people in South Dakota will decide what their laws look like.
What do you think it should look like?
I can have an opinion, and I can weigh forward, and I can look at the science and what we've learned about babies in the womb.
Diane, isn't that a department store, Nordstrom's?
Believe that we should protect life.
They were owned by the May Company, right?
That our law today is what South Dakota wants, and they'll continue to have that debate, and I'll continue to follow through in my role, which is to make sure the will of the people is enforced.
Do you think there should be exceptions for rape and incest?
Hell no.
And I think that every state's going to look different. That's what's different, Dana, is that I've constantly looked, and we rely in South Dakota on the fact that I'm pro-life, and we have a law.
I'm pro-life. I'm pro-life. Human life. I think an animal is more than a fetus.
It says that there is an exception for the life of the mother, and I just don't believe a tragedy should perpetuate another tragedy.
Tragedy. She called rape
Macy's
a tragedy, like somebody just fell into a hole or got struck by rape. That was fine.
It's crazy how many different names for the same fucking store they had. In Pittsburgh, it was Kaufman's, and in like North Carolina, it was Hex. But they were the same branding. It's like Carl's Jr. and Hardee's.
Fine, but this is the thing: the dog. Like, it wasn't a red flag that she didn't know the state of New York operated an independent legal system.
Well, my recommendation to you then would be to go to people talking about the topic you care about and talk to them about it. Instead of trying to go around and interrupt other people's shit with your like, let me join and interrupt, maybe don't be such a fucking socially awkward weirdo.
Just like the one in South Dakota that allows her to wander around shooting dogs.
Because Donald Trump himself acknowledged.
Yeah. It doesn't mean, you know what? I think you should think about what you did.
In 2018.
Have 10 minutes to think about what you did.
He authorized payments to Stormy Daniels and reimbursed Michael Cohen. We actually have the reimbursement checks to Cohen signed by Donald Trump. So those are the facts. Are you comfortable with this?
I don't care. I have good Christian values, and I don't care that he fucks porn stars. Don't care. Why do states write the laws? Are America one country or 50? That's actually a fair question. It's a bit of both. It's a bit of both. It's a bit of both.
Michael Cohen worked for President Trump. President Trump paid his legal fees. He paid his Michael Cohen legal fees and bills, and that.
A lot of times, Missy, what happens is I keep Jewish in the tag because on certain topics with Jewish in the tag, people start to spurg out. So we get a lot of like fun little weirdos that like to pop in.
That's what this trial will bring forward, hopefully, is the truth. What a ridiculous case that this is, and that it's based on the narrative today that is coming from a man who is proven to be a liar. So I'm hoping that this judge makes the right decision. I'm hoping these jurors can come in and be
It's on purpose.
And we'll let this case go forward in a swift manner that allows President Trump to get back on the campaign trail. Americans deserve to hear from their candidates, and the Democrats and the activists are using this trial to derail him, to keep him in court instead of out talking to Americans about what their real concerns are. And their real concerns are their everyday lives. They need a leader in the White House who gets up every day and puts them first and doesn't raise their taxes, doesn't overregulate them, take away their freedoms, and give all our money to other countries instead of making sure that we're taking care of America first and keeping us safe.
What's funny is they normally say like the same basic things when they come in. So like we kind of already know what's about to happen, and then we just impatient. Because I could be wrong. Like, I try not to assign to people their intentions until they prove it.
I just want to say for the record, there's absolutely no evidence that President Biden is involved in this. This is a case.
Yeah, she just let her fucking spout for minutes.
President Biden is involved in this. This is a case that is being brought in the state of New York.
It wasn't a problem that.
I'm not going to play it, but I think it was Maddow did an interesting thing last night. She talked about like 6 different Republicans that are running in states they don't live in.
She allegedly had an affair with Corey Lewandowski. In fact, so many people posted about that Lewandowski was trending. And it wasn't for this. Of course, an affair in itself isn't a deal breaker. Am I right, Trump? And Boebert. And Marjorie Taylor Greene. But Corey Lewandowski, the married father of 4 who was fired for allegedly grabbing a female reporter. By the way, this took me down a rumor rabbit hole, and apparently Cocksure Corey was getting it in. First it was Hope Hicks and then Noam, but then she supposedly dumped him after he propositioned a rich donor's wife, and Noam went back to her husband, and Hicks moved on to Rob Porter, who resigned over allegations he abused his 2 ex-wives, and then Brad Parscale, who you might remember being arrested.
Get on the ground, man. Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Get on the ground, man. What do you say?
And then committed by Florida police after his wife, yes, his wife, Called them. Hope Hicks got worse taste in men than the Detroit Pistons. She got worse taste in men than all the Kardashians put together. Now, I know what Marjorie Taylor Greene's wig holder meant when he said that liberal women were ugly.
Liberal women tend to be some of the ugliest women I've ever seen. And I'm serious. I mean, zero makeup.
Well,
they take no pride in their. Well, they want to be men. They take no pride in their dress, their attire, their makeup, their haircut. Half of them look like men. Hairy armpits, hairy legs. Come on, that is not embracing what it means to be a woman.
Yeah, standards can feel ugly when you can't reach them. Link to that video is in the bio, by the way. None of this was a problem, but the dogs is the thing. Not that she's facing a new lawsuit from consumer advocacy group Travelers United accusing Noam of doing an undisclosed advertisement for Smile, Texas.
Well, hi, I'm Christine Noam. I'm the governor of South Dakota and had the opportunity to come to Smile, Texas to fix my teeth, which has been absolutely amazing.
Or promoting a business owned by the son of the Secretary of State Department of Public Safety on Twitter. Or when she said COVID was going
Giant
to
episode of Jerry Springer. I have a whole nother one on Mars, but I got to skip it. I'm running
turned
late.
down federal unemployment assistance, but spent $5 million on South Dakota travel ads. And then South Dakota had one of the worst 10 death rates in the country, despite having less than 1 million people spread out over our 17th largest state. Or the fact that she built her career on the hardship her family faced because of the estate tax that hit after her father's death, and it was mostly proven to be a complete lie. Or the fact that she, the governor of South Dakota, is now
No, wait, okay. You want me to go back? Who? Marge or Bob? Where, or Noam? Which one?
From some parts of her state after tribes voted to legally bar her from reservation land after she made comments linking tribal leaders to drug cartels. Just think about that. She's pushing for a bigger platform when she's banned from parts of her own. That's like the AARP
Oh,
banning.
yeah, okay, hold on. I know what you're talking about. Let me go. The funny thing is, the problem was non-disclosure. Right? Wait. Oh, there you
go. For Smile, Texas.
Well, hi, I'm Christine Noam. I'm the governor of South Dakota and had the opportunity to come to Smile.
You're saying they covered it up. You're saying this is Photoshop. This is the problem. She got in trouble for not disclosing her business relationship. Cruz getting fucked right now with iHeartRadio for not disclosing his business relationship. It's pretty simple, guys.
Texas to fix my teeth, which has been absolutely amazing.
Or promoting a business.
She got some laser while she was down there. Some lace,
South Dakota had one of the worst 10
hair
death rates
removal
in the country, despite having less than 1 million people spread out over our 17th largest state. Or the fact that she built her career on the hardship her family faced because of the estate tax that hit after her father's death, and it was mostly proven to be a complete lie. Or the fact that she, the governor of South Dakota, is now banned from some parts of her state.
It's pretty funny.
After tribes voted to legally bar her from reservation land after she made comments linking tribal leaders to drug cartels. Just think about that. She's pushing for a bigger platform when she's banned from parts of
Which is a complete, what's a complete lie? Which part?
Her own. That's like the AARP banning Ron DeSantis or black people banning Ron DeSantis. Actually, both probably should look into that. Can we do that? Can we do that? None of that was a problem, but the dogs, that's the thing.
Did I say mostly a complete lie? Did he say it?
Well, looks like that won't be a problem either.
Okay. Nope. So, Rudy did the thing. If any of you have watched the, oh, he said it. Yeah. Just a nonsense phrase. That was like untrainable trained assassin. The 2019 impeachment of Trump was about him blackmailing Ukraine. If you've watched any of the Lev Parnas interviews, he talks all about the active members of Congress that are still involved and yada, yada, yada. And here's what Rudy was like, help me, help me.
Giuliani is now telling Mike Johnson and Jim Jordan to do exactly what Trump was impeached for. And we're supposed to believe that Trump and Rudy didn't do this? Watch.
With Brennan, when they were hatching, when he was informed of Hillary coming up with the false plot, it should begin with him, and it should include Brennan, it should include Biden, the vice president, who approved it and helped out. They should bring over from Ukraine about 20 Ukrainian witnesses. I can get them that are still being.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Rudy. We will go ahead and go to Ukraine to get your witnesses. Oh, I can't believe we are still talking about this. Are you being serious here? And Donald, you can have my mittens.
Being held there. A couple I found out very recently are in fear of death. And somebody should lean on Zelensky. You want another penny? Give us your Biden.
There's no quid pro quo. No quid pro quo, but if you want another penny, you got to give us this thing. Yeah, see? Yeah, you want more money? See?
Senate candidate Eric
Okay, this is too funny. This might be the last thing we get done. If this is the last thing we get done, I'll play this first.
Every day, prominent Republicans across the country tell us that Trump was responsible for the attack on the Capitol.
Exactly. I do think he was responsible. I think the whole idea was to intimidate Congress.
President Trump is responsible for provoking the events of the day.
You said it is clear that President Trump's rhetoric and actions contributed to the insurrection. Do you stand by that statement?
100%.
But sadly, these same Republicans say they will vote for him again.
You're voting for someone who you believe tried to subvert the peaceful transfer of power.
The answer to the question is yes.
Would you support him for president, even though you believe he contributed to an insurrection?
Yeah, me and 51% of America.
I said that I would support President Trump if he were the nominee, and he obviously is going to be the nominee of our party.
These Republicans are suffering from partisan derangement syndrome.
You don't see this as the definition of putting party over country?
No.
At this point in the ad, I would tell you to call this number so you can help these deranged partisan Republicans. But sadly, they're too far gone.
She's using the voice. That's the best part. The subtlety of her using the fucking fundy whisper is hysterical.
No.
At this point,
sadly, they're too far gone. Even if you gave the price of a cup of coffee a day.
In the ad, I would tell you to call this number so you can help these deranged partisan Republicans. But sadly, they're too far gone.
That's too good. It's too fucking good. Okay, this will be the last one. This is hilarious. I hope you guys did. Did anybody see? The dude, is he from Oklahoma, that tried to say the Pledge of Allegiance and failed miserably?
He's pretty wealthy, is my understanding.
He's a guy who is another seemingly astroturfing rich guy.
Right.
He has properties in San Diego. He has properties in Central America, which he said in a campaign event, I understand the immigrant experience coming from Central America because of my properties there.
And then that was a little bit misconstrued because I guess he has some like.
Well, so here's the way I see it. Sourcing. America needs to reckon with the fact that if Trump wins, there will be upheaval. If Biden wins, there will be upheaval. Right? Like, if Biden wins, there's a lot of people that are going to be violent because they need a civil war and they're losing their country, and they've been convinced of that. But if if Trump wins, there's going to be a lot of people that, for a variety of reasons, are going to also seek to change that, I believe. And even if we don't see the type of violence that I foresee, there's a lot of reckoning we're going to have to do. We have one society living on two different realities. At some point, they're going to crash. Like, it's an inevitability, much like October 7th.
Charity that helps migrants, but like he's
Hey,
Republican.
The way he said it, he
really
was like, I've seen this happen to my properties in Costa Rica, and I was like, brother, you're like an old white guy in Costa Rica. You're probably depriving them of resources in some way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're better off going down, being honest, and desensitizing people to the reality than trying to make not reality seem normal. On both sides. Yeah, like it's gonna be uncomfortable. And I think just being prepared for the unknown in the best ways you can, and don't wait till it's too late to start preparing, whatever preparing means, like whether it's places you can go, or, like, I don't know. The same unknown going into COVID is what we're going into. But just better to be aware than to make the assumption that nothing's going to happen and be caught off guard.
The other notable thing that he had said was that interview clip where he basically implied that maybe nursing home residents shouldn't vote.
Yes. Because he also has
investments in nursing homes.
Investments in nursing homes. He is the subject of.
I mean, think about sourcing. Here's how I could see the left causing some serious upheaval. And I don't think it would be through the same type of like group militia violence. I think that you'd see lots of labor strikes. I think you'd see a breakdown of supply lines, and that could very much affect the supply of oil and the availability and affordability of oil, especially in certain locations. There's a lot of things that can go on when people refuse to continue the supply chain.
Co-defendant in the California lawsuit accusing a senior living facility partly owned by the Bank of
I mean, I don't know why that you're sure I see it that way.
Bank that he leads of elder.
If you can tell me like which groups of organized militias would be rising up.
Abuse, negligence, and wrongful death. So he's just kind of like a
astroturfing rich guy
right.
Who's running against Tammy Baldwin in the Senate, who is one of the few pretty good senators.
Yeah, and Wisconsin just redrew their maps, so it's going to be a little bit, I think, of an uphill climb for a Republican, hopefully, barring a disaster, but also maybe because he doesn't really, he's not a real patriot. Yeah. He's not a patriot. He's not.
Hassan's the biggest problem.
Real patriot, as displayed by this clip.
I will say Vosh is a bigger problem than Hassan.
Thank you.
This is awesome.
We're also blessed to be part of the greatest country in the history of mankind, America. America has given more prosperity, freedom to its people than any country in the history of the world.
This guy's a foreign agent. This guy's either an alien or a foreign agent. People of our Earth, I want to say hello. No. It's not that most Republicans are insane extremists. The problem is there is a controlling. The Republican Party is controlled uniformly by people that want fascism. So when you vote for a logical, normal Republican,
even though that one Republican may be a normal Republican, a conservative, a sane conservative, if that puts the leadership of the fascist, just dedicated party, then you can justify, I voted for this one dude, but you also have to accept that allowed the fascists to have control of power. That's why, me personally, if you're going to vote Republican, that's a vote for fascism. And if you don't want to accept that or understand it or take it, then that's where the violence will come up, because the normal people will begin to feel slighted, because when somebody says, I want to be a dictator in day one, and here's all the people I want to arrest, and then he does it, well, it's too late to say that's not what he wanted.
We're also blessed to be part of the greatest country in the history
Do you know what Project 2025 is, sourcing?
of mankind, America. America has given...
I didn't say they're all uniformly fascist. I didn't say that at all. I said you literally could vote for a logical, well-meaning Republican. Like, I literally said that. But there's a consequence of that. More than just that one Republican that is a decent Republican who doesn't want to destroy democracy. There's a difference between that and the people that are in charge of the direction of his party that he would have no say in stopping.
Given more prosperity, freedom to its people.
I mean, look at Ken Buck and all these other Justin Amash and the Will Hurds, all the quitters. They'd rather quit than stand up.
Than any country in the history of the world. Yes. It not only saved the world once, but twice in the last century from oppression and tyranny. I'm proud.
You did say that by way of saying the leadership. No. You can have people well-intended that do harm. It's the banality of evil.
To be in America. I love my country. So let's say the Pledge of Allegiance together. I pledge allegiance to the...
Did you hear him?
Together. I pledge allegiance.
He doesn't even know the words.
Allegiance together.
That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of people that think they're doing the right thing, that don't think fascism is actually a thing that could happen. Like, I did a whole video on this explaining that it's not about who is the evil ones. It's about there's this movement, and the movement is dangerous. And if you support something that allows that dangerous movement to come into power, then even if you were well-intended, you aided that thing coming into power.
I pledge allegiance.
The allegiance. I pledge the allegiance, he said.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, indivisible, liberty, justice for all. Thank you.
Can we get that again?
Go back. Oh, he didn't even finish the whole thing.
He goes. Okay. Let me see if I can get it first, just to put myself. All right, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God.
I think intent matters insofar as empathy, but not sympathy. If you thought I was dangerous to your family and I harmed your family and you kill me, I mean, it's understandable why you did it, but you still caused the evil. Like, I didn't want to hurt an innocent person. I didn't intend that.
I mean, I don't care. I'm still dead. Well-meaning how about well-meaning lefties? How about well-meaning lefties? Do we... I'm not sure why I'm arguing this. I don't care. Well, because it's fun.
Indivisible, liberty, and justice for all.
Bro, we just got washed by socialists.
Okay, go back.
Tyranny. I'm proud to be an American.
This guy's great.
I love my country.
Not as much
so
as
let's
us.
say the Pledge of Allegiance together.
Why would he do this?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
I mean, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? That's what I'm saying. We just don't know.
He skipped like 6.
Nailed it.
He skipped like 3 whole lines.
Go!
Oh, wait.
Speedway.
Oh.
Thanks, Eric. He skipped one part that a lot of true patriots enjoy the most, and that's the under God part.
Under God part. Yeah.
Someone did he skip to that? He skipped the
and to the republic which it stands.
For which it stands. Because we're a republic.
One nation under God. He went indivisible for one nation under God, indivisible.
He also couldn't say allegiance.
I pledge the allegiance. Also, he said the allegiance. No, there's no article. It's my pledge allegiance, brother.
He pledges to the legions, or he.
It sounds like he got the QAnon allegiance.
I mean, I said it after January 6th. I made it very clear what was going to happen. I mean, I was just guessing, I guess, but I made it very clear. January 6th was the culmination of a coup plot that failed. That was the point where we crossed the line. And when I say crossed the line, imagine America as a gigantic ship. And there is a landline that if you cross that, your boat's going to touch land. Now, if you turn the very instant that you cross that line, you can escape with almost no damage, a nick. But every time you go deeper in past that line, you have to prepare for a more severe crash. And all we've done is put the throttle down, or whatever it's called on a ship like that, and work to run aground. And we're going to run aground, and there's no way of knowing what that's going to look like, how it's going to play out. But it's going, I don't know, there's no way of us not having America changed forever. It's just, there's a new America that will come. What that looks like, I have no idea.
Yeah,
Fuck, I was thinking where we go one, we go all. Shit.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like he was doing, right? Pledge allegiance, where we go one, we go
all.
I pledge to the legion of pedophiles who are running the cabal
Gen X.
under the pizzeria and drinking children.
They're like, all right, Eric Hovde, everybody, thank you.
Let's take that one more time, because I think the reason he stumbles at the allegiance is because he realizes as he starts, like, oh shit, I don't actually know this thing.
But he went into this saying,
have you watched any of those Chinese bioweapons getting busted in like California and shit?
Together, the point. This is.
I don't think he realized. I think he's like, oh, of course I know it. And then when you actually start to do it, it's like, oh crap.
Do you know how sometimes apparently people say it's very difficult to just say the lyrics to the Star Spangled Banner? Like, like I have it committed to memory when I sing it, but to actually just say them.
Or to say the ABCs in a way that, or like
that's not rhythmic.
Reverse, I don't know.
That he might have just had a similar thing where he's like, oh yeah, I definitely know the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm going to say it on a microphone. Then he's like, wait, oh fuck, I actually don't know this at all.
No, this is like how conservatives talk about the Constitution. They actually don't have a familiarity with it. It's an icon.
Yeah, right.
It would have been a pretty great bit, though, if he was like, oh, let's all say this together. And the whole crowd in unison proceeded to say it just like he did with the stuttering and mess-ups and all. Like, just completely together. Like, they all knew.
Go, these are my kind of people. They know how to blindly follow authority.
It not only saved the world once, but twice in the last century from oppression and tyranny. I'm proud to be an American. I love my country. So let's say the Pledge of Allegiance together. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, indivisible.
It's too good. Joe Biden. Imagine if Joe Biden did that. Just imagine.
Liberty and justice for all.
It's the SparkNotes version. It's the SparkNotes version.
Close enough, we get it.
I'm so fucking hungry.
Does he call it Pledge the Allegiance twice? Like, he doesn't just say it in the Pledge of Allegiance, but he refers to it as, let's all say the Pledge the Allegiance together. Go back and one more time. I think he actually
this
did
is
not
the
know.
Zapruder film, and the guy's wearing a Zapruder hat. Speaking of,
The
I mean, the guy
Zapruder
with the
film.
checkered fedora was even embarrassed by him. And when a guy in a checkered fedora is embarrassed by you, it's time to reevaluate your life choices.
I'm almost positive, though, he thinks it's called, like, it wasn't a mess up. He thinks it's called the Pledge of the Allegiance.
All right, we got
Listen
another.
closely.
We need to listen very closely.
It not only saved the world once, but twice in the last century
Not Vietnam,
from
then?
oppression and tyranny. I'm proud to be an American. I love my country. So let's say the Pledge of Allegiance together.
Pledge the Allegiance.
The Allegiance.
I pledge the allegiance.
I am a real American.
I pledge the allegiance. I pledge the allegiance. I pledge the allegiance.
Republic for which it stands. Indivisible.
The Legion. I am Legion.
No, I want to see the end. I want to see the end. I want to see the end where the guy gets embarrassed for him. Keep going.
BioShield.
Which it stands. Indivisible.
Amazing.
With liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
That's amazing.
God bless America. Go Slinger Speedway.
All right, y'all. This was a good time. I'm going to go eat something. I'm starving. I'll be back by Thursday for Uninformed with John Glow, 9 p.m. Eastern. And possibly tomorrow, but I doubt it. My mouth hurts. So, yeah, I hope you guys have a good one. That was fun laughing at Rezzy. And, yeah, I will talk to you guys soon.